ABC Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
My name is Auntie Pam Pedersen and I'm a proud Yorta Yorta elder. My father is Pastor Sir Doug Nichols. Whoever thought that a round would be named after my father? Little short Aboriginal man from Cumragunja. He was on the mission. It's amazing. The game meant a lot to Dad. He wanted to get out there and perhaps show his colour and that our Aboriginal people, we can play football too.
I was good. I want to be good. Not that I was that good, but this is my own thing, dominating my mind that I was their equal.
Each year we learn not only our people but non-Aboriginal people as well. When I'm sitting in that grandstand and I see all those people and the big cheer when they run through that banner, isn't it wonderful? It's important to me. If I can talk to our boys, I say to them, you're going out there playing for community, but think who you are and you run out there and you feel proud. There's such stars.
Rioli with some magic, the check side finish. He seizes the moment.
They're so brilliant in how they're quick thinking.
Follows up, sells the dummy, win goal for an early goal of the year.
So fast down the ground.
Hand pass stolen by Bobby Hill. One bounce at 40, one bounce at 20, and he goes.
You're not allowed to have favourites. They're all my favourites. I just think they're wonderful.
Outside of the ball, Ash Johnson, don't tell me! Arms outstretched as he turns to the Collingwood faithful. You know my name now.
Grandstand AFL, the 2023 Sir Doug Nichols round.
To have this round named after my father, my goodness, I mean, how wonderful is that?
AFL.
I welcome you to the Sir Doug Nichols round on ABC Radio.
Yorta Yorta elder Auntie Pam Pedersen, who provides the narrative for the round in which is named after her father. Hello, welcome to Grandstand AFL for Sir Doug Nichols round. A rivalry that has lasted throughout the generations. When last Collingwood and Carlton met in round 23, it was a 1-point margin. The Pies marched on into the finals. For Carlton fans, it was another heartbreak in the search for a return to September. So how do they shape up for a sellout match in the middle of May? Collingwood are flying on top of the ladder, looking to chalk up another win. And the Blues, well, they need a circuit breaker. Can they find a statement win against the odds? Are they good enough against the black and white army? Hello, welcome to Grandstand AFL as round 10 of the AFL continues. It is Sir Doug Nichols round. I'm Matt Clinch at Grandstand AFL. There is a late change for the Magpies with Darcy Cameron coming into the selected side. Jack Ginnivan is the sub. And as was forecast by Michael Voss, George Hewitt will be the sub for the Blues this afternoon. It's been a cool morning in Melbourne. Temperatures just over 10 degrees, but the good news is we aren't expecting too many showers, if any, throughout the match. So fingers crossed we'll see the best of what Collingwood and Carlton can offer in a rematch to round 23. Corbin Middlemaster to call the action alongside me. Great to see you, Corby. It's been a big weekend and we're finally at one of the matches of the round.
I cannot wait for it. I've been looking forward to this game since we left the last one at the end of the four quarters, round 23 last year, as the curtain came down on the home and away season and Carlton's season, period. It was an amazing afternoon of the footy. If you were here at the G, if you were watching at home, following along on the radio, whatever way you're able to take it in, you can't sort of, it's not soon forgotten is what I'm trying to spit out. They kicked 8 goals, Carlton, in that third quarter, which I feel like has sort of been lost a little bit in the postscript. So 8 goals to 1 in the third term, and then Collingwood came rattling home to kick the last 5, and Jamie Elliott, snatched their hearts out of their chest right at the death to eliminate Carlton from the finals race. So just a pulsating afternoon, one of the best afternoons, and we're lucky enough to come here just about every week, Clinchy, that I've had at the G. And fingers crossed we get something half as good this afternoon.
Our number one draft picks are here and ready to go. A man who still has the Blues close to his heart. What does it mean for Carlton this afternoon? Mark Murphy, welcome to you.
Yes, thanks, Clinchy, and thanks, Corby. It was an awesome event last year when we watched these two clubs go head-to-head. Not for the Carlton people, obviously, but it'd be interesting to know whether we've got Brad Lloyd coming up, whether or not they've drawn upon the mistakes or the last game of last year and learn anything from that, or is it too far into the new season where they just worry about getting their own game going rather than worrying about what Collingwood are going to do? But yeah, it's always a big day playing the MCG when you're playing against the big sides like Richmond, Essendon and Collingwood. And Collingwood obviously sitting on top of the ladder at the moment, and a lot of questions about the Blues and where they're going. So it's going to be a really interesting afternoon.
And alongside Murph, Brett Delidio did his best. Sarah Ferguson last week asking all the questions that Carlton fans needed to know. Now he gets another look at the Magpies this afternoon. Welcome to you, Lids.
Thanks, Clinchy. Good to be here again, boys. And be putting them straight under the microscope again if they don't perform, and I'll be looking out for it all day today, Murph, that's for sure. But no, I enjoyed last year, just to echo what Corby said. It was a fantastic game, one of the best I have been a part of since I've been sitting in this chair. So hopefully we get the same thing. And I said this during the week on your show, Corb, that I feel like it's a bit of a free hit for the Blues. They can just come out, swing, and see how they can go against one of the best teams in the comp. But tell you what, they're going to have to be at their absolute best to knock this Collingwood side off, because they're in red hot form at the moment. It's a week in which the Carlton captain fronted the media, trying to appease the fans who are looking for some results in recent weeks. And we can head straight down into the Carlton camp and welcome Lauren Borden for the first time.
Thanks, Clinchy. I'm down here on the boundary with head of football at Carlton, Brad Lloyd. Like Clinchy just mentioned, there's been a lot of talk of finals, and there's always pressure on a club like Carlton. It seems to have been really ramping up the last few days and the last couple of weeks. What's the build-up been leading into this week?
Yeah, big build-up. Look, early in the week, I guess a little bit of digging deep and really, I guess, investigating where we need to grow and improve. So, good start to the week from that point of view, and we've built up as the week's gone on. So everyone realised it's a massive clash, always is, against Collingwood. So ready to go.
Are there key things that you want to work on that you identified at the start of the week that you can implement right now today?
Oh, let's bring it all together. We want to, like against the Adelaide Crows a few weeks back, we really lost a contested ball, so we want to keep doing that. We're one of the top contested sides in there, critical. We want to defend well, and just our efficiency's been a bit off at different times. Like, it's really moments in games. So I think 5 minutes to go last week, 6 minutes we were in the game. I think we were up, so not a lot in it, but we need to finish.
And looking at teams like Adelaide and Brisbane and the Western Bulldogs, teams that you have gone down to, were they the types of sides that at the start of the season you wanted to be beating?
Oh, look, we're certainly competitive, but, we want to win those games for sure. And, we think we're good enough to do that. But, we've just been a bit off in our form. So those things I mentioned earlier, we need to get that together and do that pretty quickly.
Let's now head upstairs to some further questions from Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
Brad Murphy, as head of football, what are you coming to the ground today wanting to see from the team? I know everyone's talking about ball movement issues and the fact that you're not winning games, but what are you, as head of football, looking to see today?
Oh, look, there's a fair bit of commentary the weekend, Sunday, Monday, so it's really probably just more of a composure thing, making sure everyone stays united, sticks together, works on the right things, and I thought Bossy was outstanding early in the week with his leadership and bringing the group together and what he did, and then we got back to work and had a really good week on the track. And so really, from my point of view, it's making sure everything's stable, our routine's there for the week and everyone's prepared and ready to go, and I think we've done that. We come in with a pretty healthy squad. Good to see Jordan Boyd come back from a fair while out with his foot, so I think we're pretty healthy. So I'm really comfortable with their preparation.
And with 10 weeks into the season, obviously, do you draw upon lessons learnt from the last game of last year, or has that just been put to bed over pre-season and worry about the process that we've got currently before us?
Yeah, look, we dealt with that at the end of last year. It was a pretty devastating way to finish, but we dealt with that. So look, we've probably been more addressing sort of certain issues as we've gone on, but it's just bringing it all together. So look, we know it's going to be a huge game. We see it as a great opportunity for us today. So last year we sort of covered that off a while ago, but we're ready for the clash today.
Brad, I ran into Matty Kennedy the other day just at the supermarket, would you believe? I think his girlfriend lives not too far away from where I live, which is great, but he said that you guys feel like that your best footy's not too far away. Do you echo what Ben was saying?
Yeah, look, we haven't been playing at capacity. We acknowledge that. We think we can play better, but we have been in these games against really good sides. So we certainly haven't been blown off the park. So, yeah, we felt like, we were hoping, personally, that West Coast game where we had a good win and you're hoping we unlock a bit of ball movement there. But, no, we've been thereabouts but haven't been quite finishing. Even last week in the first half, we just it was probably just that finish. And sometimes when you get the goals on the board, it can, so I guess, lift the energy and free things up and you can keep attacking. So, we don't think we're too far away. So we're certainly not out of form, but we'd like to play better.
So you spoke about your ball movement there and trying to unlock that a bit. Has that been a focus in the pre-season to try and slow it down a little bit or play a bit more controlled to try and shore up your defence? Or has that just been, teams are structuring up a lot better against you guys?
Oh, look, it's probably just been a bit of execution, like hitting targets at the right time and taking the right opportunity. And sometimes it's taking the easy option, giving the handball off to a player facing forward. So it's been more the execution than the speed. But sometimes when you hit that that right opportunity, like you used to do, Murph, pretty regularly, that opens up everything in a way. Then all of a sudden you get overlap run and can really attack. But there are going to be times where you slow up and wait for the defence to set up and maybe take a long down the line kick. So there's a bit to it.
Brad, it's Corbin Middlemass here. I was interested to hear Craig McRae say during the week he's going to show some highlights to the Collingwood players about the last time they met, as much not just to remind them of what happened, but to be ready for what Carlton are going to bring. And Murph asked you moments ago about whether you're actually going to lean into that. Do you get the sense from the 15 guys that were out there last year that it stings a bit, that they feel like they owe Collingwood something?
Well, I think it's certainly, whether it's in the back of the mind, front of the mind, I think everyone would attack that differently. So it's really for each player to use that motivation how they need to. Yeah, I did hear that, and I think it's probably leads to, I guess, level of respect for the playing group. But, it was a great clash. Didn't quite get there, but great win by Collingwood. So, everyone will use that differently. But, we need to execute our roles on the day. So, if we're in that position again, that'd be fantastic for the crowd. But hopefully we can take the opportunity this time around, because there certainly wasn't much in it. It was just a couple of moments.
Did you watch any of it back during the week, whether it's just highlights or parts of it, or for any particular reason?
No, not from that point of view. Look, we always cover from an oppo point of view. We always cover off on the team we're playing. So certainly watch some vision of Collingwood in our opposition preview, but not in those dying moments. I guess way to look at it.
I've done your last couple of games, and I did the match against the Western Bulldogs. Felt like you guys played really tight. That obviously the crowd played a huge role in what was going on. Do you get any sense that it might give you the chance to play a little more freely today, given the fact that you have had so much heat on you for the last couple of weeks, and you're playing the best team in footy, and there's a lot of people, a lot of experts out there, and not too many of them probably would pick Carlton to win today?
Time will tell, but I do think that way. Collingwood, MCG, 90,000 people, like it's pretty good opportunity, isn't it? And they're unbelievable rivalries. So these are the sorts of games that are aren't far behind grand finals, are they? These sorts of days. So I know a lot of our players love playing for Carlton too, because they can play in these games. So there's certainly some excitement out there.
So Brad, as we let you go, it's Matt Clinch here. For Carlton fans heading along to the MCG, if you don't get the win today, how would you like them to judge your side? How will you judge them today?
Oh, look, it's really critical that everyone plays their role. It's really important. We want to defend really well, win the contested ball, and start playing at the level we can. We've just been a bit off in that area, so we think we've got more in us, and we'd like to unlock that today. So we want to get the win. That's where the focus is.
Good on you, Brad. Thanks so much for your time. Good luck today.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Brad Lloyd, the head of football at the Blues, joining us on ABC Sport. Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio, Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass. Lauren Borden down the boundary.
It's a great line at the end from that question.
Murphy,
we think we got more in us.
Judge Carlton this afternoon. The dream would be to get the win, but is it around the style in which they play? Is it the margin in which they lose by? How will you be judging the Blues this afternoon?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because I think at the start of the season, if you're a Carlton fan, you go into a Collingwood game, you're like, if we lose, that's okay, but as long as we play the way in which we're trying to play, I think everyone will be pretty disappointed by that comment. So we're obviously, the football club's at a point where they're 4-4-1, not playing the type of football that they had hoped for, that they expected, and conversely, Collingwood are sitting on top of the ladder and have done everything so far this year, and expectations are different. So I get that, but you want to come here today as a Carlton supporter, wanting to win and expecting to win. What's happened previously is a byproduct of that. So, you want to see them have the courage to play on instinct and to be aggressive with ball in hand. There's times where you need to be slow and build the ball up, but you want to see guys playing more on instinct rather than looking unsure and not courageous enough to take the option that's ahead of them. So that's something that I'm looking forward to seeing.
Liz, you can't get much more of a contrast. Julian McCreary's addressing the Collingwood players and Carlton players having set shot for goal. It's like they're on trial and everyone's waiting to assess them at the end of the game. This is why you're not good enough. And almost last season feels like all the good elements of the game have evaporated, and we're back to where we were 5 years ago. So I'm interested as to sort of where you see Carlton at the moment. Collingwood are the flag favourites.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, as Mark suggested, would think, okay, Collingwood should win on their day.
Yes.
But if the Blues lose by 10 goals...
Yeah.
Ooh, questions are going to come quick and fast.
Real questions. But as Murph said, I think it's more about how the Blues play and attack this game. I don't think the Pies are a 10-goal better team than the Blues, not by any stretch. But if they play slow and boring like they have kind of been and not put pressure on the Pies and allow them to just slingshot off half-back, then it could be 5, 6, 7, 8 goal loss, which will then obviously add question marks to everything that's going on down there. So you hope for everyone involved at Carlton, and that's not the case. But if the players freeze up and don't release the handbrake, so to speak, I think then that's what's going to ultimately be the judge today. Be brave, take the game on, but it's really hard to do that when the pressure's on and it's mounting. And I can't wait to see Harry Mackay get a set shot and to see what happens, because if he kicks it, I reckon you can almost see the whole team be like, oh, we're away here, we're okay. But if he goes back and misses it from a relatively easy one, you watch everyone clamp up. It'll happen.
Yeah, what I'm talking about, I want to see them play with courage. I'm not talking about be risky and just play a ball that's not there to kick it to. It's more first instinct. That's the right one. Go for it. Back yourself in. Be courageous with the football in hand. You can play quick without playing with risk.
Yes.
So I just feel recently, and for most of this year, I don't know, a couple of games have not wanted to take that risk and taken the easier option, which is the wider one, the slower one. Against the good sides and against Collingwood, if you're going to go quick and be risky all game, you'll get smacked anyway because their pressure's so good. You need to be smart about the way in which you go about it. You can still play quick without playing with risk. So it's easier said than done against a good side, but you want to see them looking for that opportunity. In an environment where there's so much pressure around AFL footy, how enjoyable, how much fun throughout your career was it, as it appears at Collingwood at the moment?
It looks like it's just the best place to be. They thoroughly look like they're enjoying their footy, and winning does that. But they're also playing a brand that allows them to enjoy their wins as well. It looks fun to be involved in their wins. Sometimes you can play in these hard-fought, scrappy wins that you're just like, the other team probably could have won that game. Whereas these guys just. They thrive on, coming from behind, but then they put the foot on the throat when they get their opportunities as well. So, yeah, you're right, Clinchy. It just looks like an enjoyable place to be. And that's ultimately comes down to their senior players, but the coaches and coaching staff.
Is it player group culture related, or is it coach giving the freedom to express yourself and play, knowing that if you make a mistake, we're not going to be whipping out 15 edits on Monday morning?
Oh, the coach sets the scene. I think you can do all you want as players, but if the coach isn't pushing you in a certain direction or isn't giving you the opportunity to express yourself as an individual, then you're not going to do that. So it certainly comes from the coach and coaches as well, and then it's your players to be on the same page with your coaching panel. But football's not that easy. It looks like it's pretty easy for Collingwood at the moment, and we're seeing all the fun side of things, and that's a byproduct of doing all the hard work as well.
But I think it's also, when you say it's a coach-driven, yes, that is, but it's also the respect of your teammates. For someone like, and we mentioned him last time we did Collingwood, Bo McCreary, does all this hard stuff, doesn't get a heap of the footy, but they would be rewarding that internally to say, well done. So, and what you do creates opportunities for Jamie Elliott, for all these other forwards. It's that internal support and drive that will ultimately keeps this side saying, well, you know what, I'm not going to let my teammate down by not chasing, not tackling, not smothering, and that's what keeps them competitive.
And you hear that by the way in which they all speak, and Nick Dacos is certainly on that level. When I heard Nick speak about the ability to play the way he plays because his teammates sacrifice for him.
Yes.
So he's got a great understanding of the players around him who are enabling him to play the way in which he which he does, which then makes Collingwood a better football team because the ball in Nick's hands is better than someone else's. So let's try and get the ball in his hands more so than others, and others are going to block and create space for him.
That's all I'm trying to do in this team. I'm just trying to sacrifice a little bit of my game, Murph, to make you and Libs shine. And
put a block on every now and again, will you?
Be the best version of yourselves that you guys can be.
Well, I appreciate that. So thanks for that, Corbus.
Cuzzy used to... Corbus. Cuzzy used to say the same thing about Rowan Jones. He goes, I couldn't do what I do without Rowan Jones coming from half forward, picking up my man, taking him. That's what the good sides, they sacrifice, they let the good players play and do what they need to do. Kane Lambert used to do it for Dusty in the midfield. You say, you go and do what you do, I'll cover you, man, do all the hard stuff.
It actually takes me back to when I played against West Coast and I was tagging Juddy in the first quarter. It was my second year and I had the job on Juddy and it was against Kerr, Cousins and Cox in the ruck. So it was going to be a tough day and I had the job on Juddy. Did pretty well around a couple of stoppages and then got off the chain and started to try and get loose myself. Adam Selwood came and picked me up and Juddy just went 50 metres away. Lost the tag and had 3 or 4. And I was like, oh, I'm not going away from Chris Juddy anytime soon. But that's because he just had trust in his teammates to come and pick up the role and allow Juddy to play the way in which he was best suited to make West Coast a great football side. So the best sides do it the best, obviously. They know what works for them, they sacrifice for one another, and they communicate well where the guy who's blocking or sacrificing himself gets put up in lights because of it.
It's the selfish nature, isn't it? And Collingwood had 17 more tackles than GWS in the second quarter. I think that's the biggest differential so far this season. So that's why part of their on top of the ladder DNA is that they're building this environment where it becomes contagious based on bringing in everyone into the roles and into the game, which is just what we do here at ABC Sport.
Oh, correct. There'll be kids out there, Murph, listening to your analysis there and thinking, did that man on the radio just say that the West Coast Eagles they're a great team? And what sort of year are they speaking about back when the West Coast Eagles were a mighty power in the competition?
2004, 2010, they were unbelievable.
How the mighty have fallen. So
just on that, it's a barnstorming 54-point lead Hawthorn's way early in the third quarter. So the Hawks 12-6-78 to the West Coast Eagles 4 straight 24, in which Dom Sheed has 2 of their 4 goals. And Hawthorn are feeling like everything looks a bit better with Mitch Lewis with 3 and Jacob Kaczynski with 2.
18 scoring shots to 4 halfway through the third quarter, and they're 54 points behind. The West Coast Eagles, who are as good as any team in the competition over their existence in 30 years, and they can't get a lick on the team that's won one game.
They've kicked the stumps over there, haven't they, I think? Don't want to play.
Just before we move into the Collingwood side of things, I just want to ask your view on how Paddy Cripps kind of handled the week, Murph, because he sort of fronted up on the Tuesday.
Yep.
All the newspapers are hoping that he's going to say something that gives a headline as to clubs in crisis. Bruce Matheson's lit it last week. What can we ask Paddy that's going to put him on the back foot? It's a path you would have walked a few times. How intimidating is it to front up to the media hoping that you can appease the supporters and reset everyone else about what you're trying to achieve this season?
Yeah, unfortunately, I was there a number of times and he had to come out and speak because things haven't been going too well for him. But actually, it was the first time I've watched a press conference for a long time, and it was 12 minutes and he didn't slip up once and was stood there and copped it and said, yep, look, we haven't been good enough, but we're not far away and we're working hard to try and rectify things. And I know I'm obviously a Carlton person, but I know Patrick Cripps and the type of players and leaders that they've got that football club. They're as hard at working as anyone, and it's not quite clicking for them at the moment. And you can come out and say all those things, and the fans and some people will pick it apart and go, oh, he's saying the right things, but they don't show it. But what do you want him to come out and do? So I think he came out and addressed all the questions really well. And now it just comes back to Paddy going out there and playing the type of football that he's played for a number of years. But at the start of the season, he was on fire. He's had an average couple of weeks, like most of his teammates. They needed him just to go out and hunt the football again and be aggressive, and that'll lead the way for them. Rather than going, oh, I need to be a great leader and do all the defensive stuff. No, go and hunt the football. That's what you're there to do. That's why you paid the big money. That's why you're captain of the football club. Get back to just playing with your one would be that contested beast around the stoppage and set the scene for your teammates.
So would you suggest then that they're too reliant on Pat playing well for them to get the result? Because I would suggest that he played well early, they win. Now that he's had a bit of a form slump, it's not a slump, but he hasn't been as dominant as you'd think, they haven't performed. Are they too reliant?
Well, they're probably too reliant on some of their big stars to dominate to win at the moment, and that's because they haven't been playing well enough as a team. I think last year they as obviously Paddy Cripps winning the Brownlow and Charlie being Coleman medalist, but there was other guys who were terrific as well.
Off the back of that.
So, yeah, do you need your leaders to play well? Of course you do. You need them to play really well and set the right scene.
But it's always your bottom six.
It is. And that's where the uplift comes, and that's why Collingwood have become a really good football team, because their bottom six is significantly up their game. That's probably the challenge for Carlton where they're sitting at the moment, but then it's across the board for them to play more hungry, more courageous with ball in hand.
It's interesting, Adam Chera's numbers have been really impressive. He only got 25% midfield minutes last week off the back of 3 consecutive games where he got 30 disposals. And you look at the output of George Hewitt and Matt Kennedy, both numbers have been down. Hewitt finds himself as a sub this afternoon. So there's some questions around the way in which Carlton are trying to play and their endeavours to try and execute it. If you want to get in touch with us on the SMS, 0437 774 774 is the SMS line into the commentary box. A chance to head inside the Collingwood camp. A short time ago, we got the chance to catch up with Justin Lepage, and here's with Lauren Borden.
Thanks, Clinchy. I'm down here with Justin Lepage, Collingwood assistant. Thanks for joining me ahead of such a big game. Collingwood is always one on the calendar that fans fixture in and they circle around. Added its Sir Doug Nicholls round. Can you tell us a little bit about what the build-up's been like this week?
Oh, well, obviously, apart from the being Sir Doug Nicholls round, which is obviously a really important part for not just our footy club, but obviously the AFL and Australia's culture. It's really important. We've got some wonderful Indigenous players playing today as well, and Ash and Bobby, so it's big for us, and it's even bigger for them. But other than that, it's a normal week of meetings and training and all that sort of stuff.
It wasn't so normal last round of last season, the game of the season when you beat Carlton. Can you just tell us, Craig McRae said that he was going to show that to the players again. What was the reaction like?
Yeah, I guess so. The history of the club, what Craig's very good at is drawing on the spirit of any particular game, and obviously the history of these two clubs, and win-loss sit very close together. I think we marginally might have them maybe by 1 or 2 at the moment, but really touched on that and how important that is. So that was really it as far as the build-up.
Craig McRae's been very good at pulling the club together, whether it was Mother's Day last week or, really looking at that family aspect. What did he draw on this week? Just really the history between the two clubs. That was the main thing, and it dates back well before Craig and I as well. I mean, this club's bigger than the guys that are currently there at this point in time, so it's a good history lesson for even guys like myself that don't know much about it. Let's head upstairs now to some further questions from the box.
Justin, Mark Murphy here, mate. Obviously, Carlton have been under the pump for probably the last 2 or 3 weeks. You talked about Craig McRae going back and looking at that last game from last year. Do you sense that they're going to come out really aggressive? Is it, just worrying about what we do best, or is understanding going, well, you know what, we ended their season last year, we didn't allow them to play finals, we know they're stung, just be prepared for a really physical contest at the start of the game?
Yeah, I guess emotionally the game might be a bit similar, but it's funny, statistically, I think it might be very different. I mean, we got smashed from stoppages and scores from stoppages in the last game, and we had issue with stoppages the whole year, let's be frank, last season. But this year we've improved that particular area, and Carlton have dropped off a little in that space. Who knows? So it may be similar today. Every game's so different, but yeah. So we look at all 3 phases of the game clearly coming in. There's nothing that we miss, and then from there you're looking at the small moments of momentum. Like at this point in time, third quarters, we're sort of giving the opposition a bit of momentum back. So how do we manage those moments? So all those little touch points we always go through as well.
And Mason Cox had probably his best game of his career last week. I thought he was fantastic. How's the strut been around the football club this week? It was quite significant enough for the game last week when I watched on.
Yeah, he doesn't need a lot of evidence to get a strut on, Mason. A bit like I coached Brett Delidio once. He was very similar like that as well. But no, I love Mason. He's a brilliant bloke. And as I said to Darcy after the game when we were sitting back watching Mason gracefully strut around the MCG, he happened to say, well, I'd rather him like that than the other version. So I think we love it when he's all up and about. The Magpie Army love it when he's up and about as well.
And Darcy Cameron's listed as the emergency. I can see him warming up at the moment. He's sub for today's. Is he going to be aimed to come on a particular time, or is it just more wait and see?
Oh no, he'll start on the ground today. And
he's starting.
He'll start on, and Jack will start as sub. We're a bit unsure just with the health of a couple of our players throughout the week, so we had to make that call a little later in the week.
Okay, so it's been a tough couple of weeks with the flu running through the camp. How is everyone going? Obviously, a few guys going down. The training loads, have they been adjusted as a result?
Yeah, a little bit. It's come in fits and spurts for us. I think last season when this happened, it happened in like literally 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And everyone basically had it between, I think, around sort of 7, 8, 9. And this time it's sort of been 1 or 2 guys per week. So it's been a longer management with that. I think every club goes through it. We're not the only ones, by the way. But it's been a bit of a different blend where it's just every now and again 1 or 2 days guys are missing and we have to sort of wait on them towards the end of the week.
So we saw this week, it's Corbin Middlemass here, by the way. Justin, appreciate your time. So we saw Jack Ginnivan and Ash Johnson both training by themselves later in the week, and they both got up okay?
Yeah, they're the two that we're discussing, and yeah, they were fine. So they did a bit more work yesterday on Saturday, which you don't normally do in a captain's run, but we just wanted to make sure they get a bit of a blowout, and they pulled up okay and not worse, which they did. They felt fine, and they were both at the tail ends of it, so that's a good thing.
The other one I'm sure you love is when people say, oh, are they peaking too early? Which I don't know what necessarily that means in footy, and whether are you meant to slow down, or I don't know what that looks like at this stage of the season. But how do you manage that internally? So you're off to such a good start, you're playing great footy, it is a long season. How do you blend all those elements together?
It's a good question. There is something to, I don't know if the word peaking too early is the right phrase of it. I remember when we were at Richmond in 19, we didn't make a change, I think, in most of the season, finished on top. And I think, there was nothing new coming in through the team, no changes. And I think we become a sitting duck by the end of the season. I felt Dimmer felt the same. And whereas the other seasons, like Jack Graham coming in last, Jacob Townsend 17, there were some things that were changing and evolving as the season went on. I think you still need to do that to some level. You just can't keep rolling out the same game plan and the same 22 every week, that's for sure.
Collingwood's head of strategy, Justin Lepage, is with us on ABC Sport. Justin, just thinking back to Julian McCreery addressing the Chargers last week, could you see your former coach Lee Matthews going with that? And is that sort of creating the fun and the vibe around the Collingwood change rooms?
It's probably a good indication of how times have changed. I mean, Lee would not have done that. Lee was ahead of his time in a way where he allowed players before the game to sort of behave how they wanted to. I remember, I'll go back to my very start with Robert Walls. You had to play with your socks up and your shirt tucked in. Nigel Lappin, as soon as the siren went, he'd untuck his jumper and put his socks down, literally as a siren, when he hated playing that way. But they were almost the rules you had to play in 30 years ago. But 30, 40 years ago, but now it's very different, and it's got to the point that players like being relaxed before the game and really, sort of crank in the last 15 minutes.
So in the footy club cultures you've been amongst, I mean, we've been debating this week if you compare Collingwood and Carlton, where does the winning versus the fun sit? Does the fun bring the winning, or does the winning bring the fun? Do you have an insight into that?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I think you need both. Players need to be loved and supported, clearly, but you have to put them in a place where they can succeed as well, and give them the game plan and give them the coaching and the technical aspects to be better players. So, yeah, I know we focus on the fun and the smiles, but it's good to do that. It's hard to do that when you're sitting in the bottom three of the ladder. I know I've been there as a coach, and it's hard to invent it when the scoreboard's always going against you. So you can't just say, having a fun environment means you're going to win games, because you also need to do the work hard, have a good game plan. Coaches have to coach hard. Players have to be committed to their craft as well. But it's just working out the balance between all of it.
And finally, is there anything particular for Patrick Cripps and Charlie Curnow this afternoon?
Yeah, we always have, what ifs, I guess. You always want to set the game the way you want to set it, and then have a look at it. If it is a tag with a Cripps, it's usually around a stoppage. It's not normally in general play, but it's someone around his back to nullify his clearances, so that may happen as the game goes on.
Oh, I can just hear all the kids behind you, Justin, yelling out Guinea. Is there anyone's name who gets shouted out more than Jack Ginnivan's?
Yes.
Endakos?
Yes, Endakos. That's about it.
I just wanted to ask you about him, Leper. I mean, Nick Dacos is having such an incredible season. It feels like Jordan De Goey is not getting probably the attention he might have in recent seasons. How highly have you rated his clearance and contest work?
Oh yeah, he's been incredibly important for us. It's probably a good sign of your footy club that a guy like Jordan doesn't get mentioned on a weekly basis. In most clubs, he'd be your number one player and he'd be leading the headlines. But I think Nick's just had such an outstanding year for a second-year player also. I think that sort of added to it, whereas Jordan's been in the system a lot longer. He probably doesn't get the external accolades.
As always, Leper, we love your insights. Thanks so much for your time and good luck today.
Enjoy, have a good call.
Justin Lepage joining us on Grandstand AFL in the lead-up to Collingwood and Carlton from a sold-out MCG as round 10, Sir Doug Nicholls' round of the AFL continues. couple of moments ago, the Blues made their way out onto the MCG, and Collingwood are just breaking through their banner at the moment. It was great to see Yorta Man and the first Indigenous Australian AFL umpire, Glenn James, OAM, was out in the middle as well to present the umpires with the footy. The Sir Doug Nicholls round honoree and part of the occasion here at the MCG. So we've heard from both camps, the Collingwood and the Carlton camp, as to what might come this afternoon. Chance to look at further depth on what Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio are thinking will decide this match on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, well, hopefully we don't have to... I'm just going to go back on what Lepper said, and I can clear that up for everyone who was listening. I did not strut one bit when I was down there at Richmond.
You want to go back to that?
We want honesty in the box here, Lids.
Yeah. I'm not sure you stopped when you left Richmond. I think that's more the... in fairness, I think it's sort of continued past onto the Giants, onto ABC Sport.
15 love.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. I'll stop. You go, Murph.
He's cracked the sets. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here in the first 5 minutes, because Carlton have been copying it for 2 or 3 weeks, haven't they, Lids? And probably fair enough too, but against the arch rival coming here, wouldn't be surprised if there's a heavy tag on Nick Dacos to start.
Who, though? I don't think anyone can do it.
Cottrell might do it.
Okay.
Off a wing. And then off a half-forward flank, maybe an Ed Kerno might take that role. So they've got some guys who are aerobically gifted enough to keep up with him. I think Nick Dacos has certainly got the tricks to, as he's already displayed so far. But I feel the heat's going to be on in this one early. And I think Collingwood are expecting it from Carlton, because they've been knocked from pillar to post in the last few weeks. And to come out here against the arch rival, the MCG, would be 85,000 probably plus here, and majority being Carlton's home game. I just feel it's going to be on here to start the game.
Yeah, I hope that they just come out and play not restricted. I think that's the key for mine, and they put a heap of pressure onto Collingwood. They allow Collingwood to get their game up and going, which Collingwood are the best at being able to do that. Then it will be a 4 or 5 goal loss at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's going to be difficult for Carlton to play that aggressive ball movement style, because Collingwood defend the ground better than anyone.
So how do you beat Collingwood? Is it based around pressure? Is it based around beating them at clearances and creating some problems in their forward 50?
Well, that's where Carlton were at their best last year, was scoring from stoppages, and they've been average at that this year. It's certainly been their one wood over the past 18 months, and they've gone away from that, but they haven't hit the scoreboard, and their midfielders haven't really hit the scoreboard so far this year enough. So their midfielders need to get hard forward and kick goals, but they also need to win the clearance battle and give their forwards first opportunity against the Collingwood defence, because if Collingwood are allowed to get numbers behind the ball and set up, and that's when they're at their best, Collingwood. They run in numbers. They use the ball so well out of defensive 50. They've got probably superior pace through the midfield compared to what Carlton have. So the clearance battle is going to be immensely important for Carlton to get the game on their terms.
Yeah, I'd just like to see him get the ball in motion a little bit quicker against this Collingwood defence. And how you start that is backing in, Jacob Wiedering and Lewis Young down there. Take your marks, don't spoil, take your marks, and then feed it off to your runners in Doherty and Nick Newman, Sard coming off there. Ignite your ball flow, and then allow your mids to spread off of that. And at the moment, they either spoil or they take a mark and they go short, and they pull back off the mark and they go short again. It's very easy for them Collingwood, all right, we're going to block you into this little passage of play into the corner of the ground. And then as soon as we win that ball back through the corridor, we go and score. So be brave. And when we say be brave at the start, when we're talking about it, Murph, it's be brave enough to take that game on, give that little handball receive. And then Brad Lloyd was talking about, give that handball receive to the runner going past and see what can happen with a 1v1 up the ground. You got some great targets up there. Give him a chance.
So Mitch McGovern took just the 1 mark last week against the Western Bulldogs. He's out of contract at the end of the season. Felt like that was sort of the role he was brought in to be, to try and play that intercept marker, whether they start him on the wing to try and take him out of those matchups against Collingwood's unlikely forward line, where they do have a versatile forward 50. But is there a way in which he and Wiedering Young can combine better, or is it just about the confidence in that back six?
Oh, it's probably all of it, to be honest with you, Clinchy, but I think they certainly want Mitch McGovern to play on instinct and come and intercept in the air and take those marks. And then he's probably their best ball user, I feel, by foot down there when he gets the ball in hand, Mitch, because he actually has a crack at going through the corridor and will be more aggressive with his disposal. So I feel they're still not getting their intercepting right at the moment. And when they do intercept, I think Lid's alluded to it pretty well, is that they go short and wide as their first option. I think that option's always going to be there. Collingwood will give you that option. Yep. Watching them last week, Collingwood continually, when the ball's intercepted in their forward 50, they give up the short wide one because that just allows them to set up and give them time to get their full defensive zone in place. So that one, it's always going to be there. Don't be first to go there. Look corridor or look for the more aggressive kick first, and if it's not there, then you can go wide. But you want to see them looking for the shortest route home and have a go at their skill and back in their execution that they're going to nail it.
So I haven't seen Carlton tag. Ed Kerner used to do it a lot. Carrazzo probably before him, going way back. But
Nightmare still in Carrazzo.
I used to hate playing against.
Could Ed Kerner get the job on Nick Dacos?
Well, I think he could, but the challenging part of that is I don't reckon they did it much last year. So to get your game up and going, you don't want to give up and go against what you do naturally really well. But then if Nick Dacos comes out and has 40 and kicks 2, you say, well, don't get beaten by what you know. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't a little bit. So I think what it needs to be is a concerted effort from everyone to say, right, well, just don't allow him to run past you with ease and get those easy little 1-2s that he's been getting. If he's going past you, bump, put some pressure onto him or see him out until you can hand him over to the next guy. But if it's one guy who is going to try and lock down on him, he'll just manipulate and go wherever he pleases, and he'll end up with the same numbers.
Well, we rarely see that anyway these days, where you just have a full-on tag and they don't worry about the ball whatsoever. So I think it's more of a wherever Nick's going to line up, whether that's in the midfield, that whoever's best suited as the best runner in the midfield, take Nick through there. If he's lining up on the wing, have your ideal matchup of a wingman who you want to play against him. If he lines up a half-back flank, you have your small forward who's best suited to play him and bumper him. Like, just got to be physical with him, because the best that when Collingwood are at their best and when Nick's at his best, he gets follow-up chain. He's a chain of possession player, so he'll get the ball in D50. He'll just run a straight line towards goal and get used on the interim through there.
You know what I think should be, and he's not starting on the bench, but Sam Walsh, start right next to him and let's say, righto, I can run. I know you can run. Let's see how we go. Then you're getting damage versus damage. You're going to give up a little bit with Nick Dacos, but he's not going to be hard locked down on Sam Walsh.
He's the perfect one. I talked about if he's lining up in the midfield, Sam Walsh is definitely the one who should line up next to him.
But go with him everywhere, though.
Not tag him, but just have him accountable at the contest, and then go, well, you're a great runner, well, so am I. You're going to find it the other way as well.
Exactly. So I think that should be, regardless of whether it's in the middle of the ground, go to half forward. You can play half forward, Sam Walsh, no worries. If he goes to half back, go play there as well. Just not lock him away, but test him out, see what he's like going both ways, and get him verbally as well. I think that's the way I'd be going if I was a coach, but I'm not, so it doesn't matter.
Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you. Down in Launceston, it's Hawthorn leading by 67 points, approaching three-quarter time. Just the 3 goals to none in this third term, with the Hawks 14-8-92 to the West Coast Eagles 4-1-25, with Mitch Lewis leading the way with 3 goals for the Hawks. He's now jumped up to 5, so a couple of goals in this third quarter. The players are gathering down in front of our commentary position on the members wing here at the MCG, so we're not far away from having the official ceremony and the welcome to country taking place. There was a late change for the Magpies. Darcy Cameron has come in to the selected 22, and Jack Ginnivan is the sub for the Magpies, and George Hewitt for the Blues. As Carlton gather on the left-hand side, Collingwood on the right. Let's take you down to the official ceremony.
Introduce Wurundjeri Woiwurrung woman Mandy Nicholson for the welcome as traditional custodian of Naarm, Melbourne. Mandy will be joined by the Jiri dancers who will be performing the Wominjeka Welcome. And this will be followed by the song and dance from the Tiwi Islands, including stories of the cultures embedded in the 2023 Carlton Indigenous Guernsey, which has been designed by Tiwi woman and artist Rasalina Purantatamere.
Biladunyan wangat naranik mandi, Wurundjeri Willamik, Wurundjeri Balakut, Wundanai Muruktalada Birang, Wundanai Kiripik, Wundanai Bubuk Nakurenik, Balalal Ba Gugung Nugalik, Ba Bikut, Bikdui, Banyabik, Murnmutbik, Wurawurubik, Ba Darangokbik, Ba Bunjalal, Willamu. We are here today to celebrate First Nations' contribution to the AFL game from its origins of Marngrook right where we stand today. And I also welcome our Tiwi Islander brothers and sisters dancing on country today. Thank you. Wurundjeri, Wurundjeri ao Naramu. Wurundjeri, Wurundjeri ao Naramu. Wurundjeri, Wurundjeri ao Naramu. Bambucha Maninga, Bambucha Maninga. Wanganino, Tula Pagaro. Wanganino, Tula Pagaro. Nagaje, 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 Nagaje. Wanganino, Tula Pagaro. Wanganino, Tula Pagaro. Nagaje, 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 Nagaje. Wingmaleo, Coreno, Dalen Bariamo, Mumelamo, Woman Jeka, Woman Jeka.
Where? 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 Where?
So Mandy Nicholson with the welcome to country, and then the cultural dance from the 6 women on the right, including 2 youngsters and the 3 men on the left-hand side in front of a sold-out MCG. You could hear a pin drop as that took place, and it provides the atmosphere and the environment for Sir Doug Nicholls' round. And just the thanks from Jesse Motlop coming across for the Blues, and they'll go through their preparation in the lead-up to the opening bounce. Backledge and Corbin Minimas to call all the action. Lauren Borden is down on the boundary. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio are your experts on Grandstand AFL.
The jumper for the Carlton Football Club you heard there as part of the intro. So the traditional Tiwi culture represented the Gulama ceremony. So we just saw part of it play out in front of us. It's so good to see the Tiwi Islands culture represented on a jumper of one of the AFL teams. It's such a rich history and the link obviously with Australian rules football. This is a community of around 2,700 people and have produced 3 Norm Smith medalists. So Morris Rioli, Cyril Rioli, and of course Michael Long 30 years ago. So Russi Parunatata Mary was the designer of the Carlton jumper. The armbands and the spears are reflected in the design. So the Gulama ceremony is an annual celebration of life represented by the circular shapes which symbolise the ceremonial dancing grounds. The spear and the armband sit proudly across the front of the Guernsey, showcasing the strength and resilience of Tiwi women. So that is the Carlton jumper, which is various shades of blue. They've got the navy shorts on again today. And Tani Jarvis, is the designer of the Collingwood jumper. Actually played a little bit of Tani's video package earlier today on Grandstand AFL Sunday. So Tani Jarvis has designed the jumper. She's a Javankaree Warrawong woman, which is in the southwest of Melbourne. So her mobs use cross hatchings, which is a common technique which they use on tools and cloaks, and that art technique is also represented in the jumper of Collingwood. So if you look very closely on the white part of the jumper where the stripes are, you can see the cross hatchings. There's also circles which represent the various groups in which Collingwood are involved, so represents their supporters, their VFL team, their AFLW side, the netball team, the wheelchair side, the AFL team. So all these circles coming together to representing the people and their stories that make up the Collingwood Football Club.
So the toss of the coin taking place. The First Nations players Ash Johnson and Bobby Hill, alongside Jesse Motlop, joining the captains Patrick Cripps and Darcy Cameron, in which the Blues won the toss, and they'll head to the City End in the opening term. Final member of our team sitting in the front row of the grandstand this afternoon is Lauren Borton. Welcome once more to you, Lauren.
Thanks very much, Clinchy. Cripps probably made a good decision there, kicking towards the City End. There is a fair bit of a breeze here at the MCG. We know it swirls around a bit, but so far during this pre-match it's been blowing towards that City End. It is pretty cold down here. We're sitting at about 14 degrees and it feels every bit of that. And it's only basically going to get colder. That's about the maximum temperature for today. George Hewitt, as you mentioned, comes in as the sub for Carlton, as we knew earlier in the week. And then the late change brings Jack Ginnivan on as the sub after battling illness, and Darcy Cameron starting on the field for the Pies. It'll be interesting to see how he goes coming back from that left MCL injury. Hasn't played for about 6 weeks now.
Thanks, Lauren. Looking forward to your contribution throughout the match. So Collingwood have won 7 of the last 8 games against Carlton. The Blues last win back in round 18 in 2021. And of course, last year's final game of the home and away season, in which the Blues kicked 8-1 in the third quarter. Collingwood prevailed by a point, denying Carlton their opportunity to feature in the finals campaign. The stage is set. Sir Doug Nicholls round of the AFL. Round 10 of the AFL competition. And a chance for Collingwood and Carlton to see where they sit in the middle of May. Here we go on Grandstand AFL. Carlton and Collingwood. It's Corbin Minimas to get you underway.
Let's hope we get something as half as good as the last time they went at it. The opening bounce, Mason Cox wins the hit out for Collingwood, but straight down to Chera. Hand pass to Kennedy, the Blues. Handball away to Akers. Shoots a hand pass out wide to Sada, who clashes with the umpire. Won the footy though. Got the yellow Sharon out to Doherty, and he kicks it into the front half for Kennedy. So Carlton with the first 6 disposals. And Matt Kennedy puts it inside the forward arc for the Blues. Over the top, Silvani. No mark. Falls down to Murphy. Just jams it on the boot. Trickles a kick to side bottom off the back flank. And a hurried ball up to the wing. And Myercheck takes the mark for Collingwood.
In front of Wiedering the match-up this afternoon. Darcy Moore's gone to Charlie Curnow. Murphy to Mackay. Hand pass came forward from Myercheck. Gave it away to Noble. To side bottom hard against the boundary. Up towards Elliott. Can't take the mark as Young came in from the side. A chance for Nick Newman for the Blues. Hand passes wide of Sard, who steps it over the boundary line. In front of the Olympic stand. Looks like you're on the money, Murph, with Cottrell going to Nick Dacos.
No inside information on that either, Clinchy. It looks like he's on the far side. Shane Warne stand wing. Cottrell v Dacos.
Maynard on Silvani. Quaynor on Motlop. Free kick from the ruck throw in. It's against Mason Cox, who started the ruck. Darcy Cameron on the bench, and the free kick going the way of Mark Pitnet. The Carlton ruckman turns, heads boundary side at right half back. He finds Blake Acres, who can chip it over the top, and Paddy Cripps marks.
In front of the interchange, a long kick for the Brownlow medalist down to Charlie Curnow. Crashes the pack, no mark, falls to Silvani. Took a fraction too long. Maynard got him, ball comes out. Murphy for the Pies. Hand pass to Noble, away to Mitchell. Shoots a hand pass to DeGoey. Runs, carries, kicks it himself and finds Myercheck, who marks in front of the bench. Another crowd upwards of 80,000 in the G already. Continues to fill up as Myercheck to the top of the goal square. Floats through to Bobby Hill. He's kicked the first of the day. And a dance from Bobby too in front of the cheer squad. As he did last week, he kicks the opener. Collingwood with the first impression. One straight, Carlton yet to score. 2 minutes in on Grandstand AFL. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
Yeah, it was a lightning little goal and get on the back. How much depth did Brodie Myercheck have on that kick? It just kept travelling. He just snuck out the back on McGovern there, it seems, Murph.
Yeah.
Good small forward craft.
Just a little bit, not concerning, but I would have liked the Carlton midfielders to really press hard. The Collingwood midfielders
got out
from that long kick from Patrick Cripps down the line. it was just too easy to work the ball through by hands, and they found an uncontested mark in Brodie Myercheck. They need to really squeeze up and allow no space whatsoever for the Collingwood midfielders to operate in. They just allowed them way too much space there.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. 2 goals last week for Bobby Hill against the Giants. To rediscover his best, and on the board here first, Pitnet wins down the tap for the Blues, but straight to Mitchell at Collingwood. Hand pass to Cripps, trying to fend off Chera. Got the hand pass to Maynard, to the back edge of the square for Decoe. Fires it out to the wing. It's Hoskin Elliott who gathers for Collingwood. His underground hand pass, though, picked off by Blake Acres of the Blues. Retreats back to Doherty. He receives the hand pass at halfback. Around the southern wing up towards Charlie Curnow. Darcy Moore gets a fist in there for Collingwood. Spills the way of Acres. He turns and retreats back and finds Sam Doherty between wing and half-back for the Blues.
Doherty missing just those 2 games with the meniscus injury. Boy, they're happy to have him back, the Blues. A long kick from their former skipper down to half-forward. Mackay in the pack, no mark, spills to Cripps. Quick hand pass to Motlop. He wrong foots Quaynor, runs to 45, kicks to the goal line, side bottom, whacks it through. Crashes into the turnbuckle in the process as the goalpost shaking at the city end. First score for Carlton is that rush behind. Collingwood 1 straight, Carlton are behind, 4 minutes in.
Showed a bit of pace there, Jesse Motlop. Isaac Quaynor's no slouch in that department, so good turn of foot from Jesse.
Noble brings Collingwood back into play to Josh Dacos, who kicks up towards half-back. Mason Cox worked underneath, and Mark Pitnet takes the mark for the Blues. Chance to send them inside 50 once more. In the direction of Harry Mackay, sets himself, and takes the mark. I think initially he thought he might have to spoil, and then all of a sudden he lost Murphy and was able to take the mark on a 45-degree angle. He'll kick from about 40 metres out.
Well, what did I say in the pre-game about this? If this goes through, you can just watch everyone relax from Carlton.
Where's it going?
Oh, don't put that on me.
Well, he's going back for the genuine drop punt. So usually I reckon he'd snap.
Listen to the Collingwood crowd. I'm going to back him. Put it through, big fella.
12-11 for Harry Mackay. Comes in on a 45, starts to the left, bends it right. The Blues have rhythm. And they take the lead early here at the MCG. 5 minutes in, the Blues 1-1-7 to Collingwood 1 straight 6. How much of a monkey is that off the Carlton players' shoulders?
Well, other than the Bobby Hill goal to start, it's probably the perfect start for Carlton, because Harry Mackay, who he's been under the pump from all media types, all coming at him to take a big contested mark against Darcy Moore in that contest, and then to go back and not snap it, go back and back himself in with a drop punt.
Yeah.
Perfect start for Harry and his confidence, and that just belief of the whole team. Go, yep, let's get it in there quick to this bloke, because he's a beast. Let's give him every opportunity.
Well, we weren't barracking then. It was just happy for the player, because we understand it's former players, what it's like when everyone's coming at you. So good on you, Harry. Well done, big fella. Get the monkey off the back.
He was smiling. He knew how significant it was.
100% you know.
0-2 last week. He's on the board, and the Carlton's first. They lead it by a point. Back in the middle. Comes down to Decoe. Gee, spun around a few times in the Jarrett tackle. Got it away to Nick Dacos. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Kicks Collingwood to centre half forward. An outstretched mark for Adam Chera. A full stretch, leaping up at centre half back. He's got it for Carlton. Probably played his best game for the club the last time these two teams met. He goes short on the 1-2 with Walsh. And then Chera kicks along to half forward. Big Mason, the American Pie, takes the intercept mark at half back for Collingwood. It's Carlton by a point, 6.5 minutes into the opening term.
I don't mind the idea of trying to move the ball a little bit quicker, but not to the +1 and Mason Cox sitting there.
Into the middle of the ground for Myercheck. Risky kick, he flies over. Mitch McGovern put a knee right into his hip and takes the mark. Flares the kick out on the southern wing, out in front of Josh Dacos. He has space to gather and it trickles away from him. Looks up towards 50. Taylor Adams has space. He marks. Hand passes forward to Hoskin Elliott, running the boundary line to the top of the goal square. McCreary gets rid of Hollands, snaps across his body and misses. The free kick was against McCreary in the eyes of the umpire. He illegally took him out of the marking contest, so the shot on goal doesn't count. Carlton free kick 10 metres out from their defensive goal at the punt road end. Blues by a point.
So here's Ollie Hollands out of the back pocket. Long kick to Mason Cox again. Almost took another intercept mark. Spills down Carlton's way and a pack forms on the wing. Last man up with a footy will be Sam Walsh. Hawthorn narrowly in front of West Coast. They lead by 90 points. 13.5 to go in that game down in Launceston. From the ball up here, Cox is tackled, dispossessed, comes out to side bottom. He's held up. So that's, what's that, 17th beating 18th by 90 points halfway through the final term. Carlton by 1 here. 8 minutes into the opening quarter, Blues by a point.
From the throw up, it's taken by Matt Kennedy, who feeds the hand pass away to Ed Curnow up towards Cottrell at half forward. Takes the mark. He's 55 metres out from goal. Looks into the pocket. Here comes Charlie Curnow on the bounce. Darcy Moore pins the arm. He can't get rid of it. They all turn to the umpire. He'll pull it up. No prior opportunity.
Just that last stoppage, Carlton sending a half-forward flanker up amongst stoppage, resulting in only 5 forwards ahead of the ball, so they need to win the ball, the contest, and be smart with their ball use going forward.
One of the many matchups to look forward to throughout the match. Darcy Moore, the Collingwood captain, on Charlie Curnow. Free kick going the Blues' way. It's in the ruck, and Mark Pitnett will take it against Mason Cox. Kicks it towards Harry Mackay, and peeling off Darcy Moore on Charlie Curnow. Takes the intercepting mark for Collingwood, 15 metres out from his defensive goal at the city end. Carlton by a point.
Lays it off by hand, and Nick Dacos short kick to brother Josh. Marks half back for Collingwood. A cool day in Melbourne. No rain forecast though, but 13-14 degrees at the moment. Floodlights on. A yellow Sherrin with Yellowa written on it for Sir Doug Nicholls round. Sent down the wing from Josh Dacos, but picked off by Young. Hand pass to Walsh, gives it to Kennedy, goes inside 50. Curnow, sprawling effort, no mark, falls to Akers. Hand pass away, hurried kick forward and spills out a play off the boot of Owies. And now it's on as Owies gets pushed in the back, and now there's a scrap. And this is what your memory's all about, Murph, for these Carlton-Collingwood games.
There's plenty of passion out there, which is great to see, and the fans love it.
Josh Dacos has had his jumper ripped, thrown back in. Pitnett tries to squeeze the kick. Not 15 for Durden. Hand pass away to Ed Curnow. Links up with Hollands to Chera just inside 50. Across the body to the goal mouth. Harry Mackay out position as Moore bumped him out of the way. Spills to Murphy for Collingwood. Tough one for Markov. Gathers on the half volley. Hand pass to Sidebottom. Over the top to McCreary. Collingwood do this so well with a hand pass to Maynard. Sends it up the members wing. Racing Matt Myerchev. Taps it away from Mitch McGovern. Spills to Hoskin Elliott. Inside 50. Won't get to Johnson. Charging out is Young. It ricochets off his chest. And goes out of play in front of the Olympic stand, which is heavily populated with Carlton fans this afternoon. Being a Blues home game. Collingwood inside their forward 50. Carlton leading by a point.
Hawthorn over West Coast by now 96 points. Final 12 minutes. Boundary throw in. Cox hooks it down behind, but straight to Ed Curnow. Tumbles a kick forward for the Blues. Markov picks it off. Keeps it in Collingwood's front half. Hand pass to Sidebottom. Kicks to centre half forward. High ball. Wettering knocks it away for the Blues. Cottrell has a little fumble. Sweating on him is Josh Dacos. As Cottrell grabs the footy at 1-2 with McGovern. Back to Cottrell. Retreats by hand to Akers. Akers turns and kicks down the wing for the Pies. One-on-one scenario. Mackay got a hand on it, but spills front and centre. The Pies ready to swoop. De Goey to Pendlebury. Hand pass to Quaynor. Kicks it straight into Cottrell. Lays the smother. Ricochets to De Goey. He's tackled. Ball comes out. Collingwood still going forward. Pendlebury inside 50. Johnson. It came out a few times. The Pies just kept it going forward, and in the end, Ash Johnson marks the surge kick inside the forward arc. He'll kick from 20 out.
Yeah, well, there was nothing really pretty at all about the ball use going forward, but I think it was just Lewis Young slipped at the exactly the wrong time, and Johnson had an easy uncontested mark.
What a start. Full house at the G. Arch rivals going at it. Ash Johnson swings the lead around. Collingwood back on top. 12 minutes in. The Pies move to 2 straight 12. Carlton a 1-1-7. It's a 5-point lead for the Magpies. 12 gone opening term.
You're right, Murph. It wasn't pretty, but it was contested really in tight footy, wasn't it? Geordie De Goey, clean pick up off the deck, but couldn't break through. Good tackle. Then it was just a quick handball to Scotty Pendlebury. You know when the pressure's up, when he's just rush kicking forward, because he's usually the first bloke to put it on a platter and stand around, wait. He just banged it forward, and it was unlucky. Lewis Young slipped over at the crucial time, and Ash Johnson just read it really, really well.
And the pressure's certainly right up from both sides at the moment. It's pretty hard to get a good-looking ball at the moment. Sort of hazard balls going forward, and to Carlton's favour, they're actually pressuring pretty well around the contest and around the ground.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Darcy Cameron in the ruck against Silvani for the Blues. Cameron won it, kicks towards Hoskin Elliott down low, can't take the mark. Gathered by Paddy Cripps, hand pass to Doherty. Free kick for a hold, and it's going Hoskin Elliott's way. Footy wasn't returned, that will be 50 against Nick Newman.
Ollie Hollins.
Ollie Hollins it was, and they're letting him know about it as well.
Oh, here we go. Another mellow.
Nick Dacos is in there. I think Josh is not too far away. I'll lift Mark off as well. As Will Hoskin Elliott has been marched to the top of the goal square.
Yeah, young fella just made a mistake there of not getting it back to the player who needed to have the free kick. 50 metres.
Will Hoskin Elliott for back-to-back goals for the Magpies. He steers it through. And Collingwood skip out to an 11-point advantage. They're 3 straight 18 to Carlton 1-1-7. Courtesy of a 50-metre penalty. 14 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
There was nothing, it's a hard one, those ones, because it wasn't intentional, wasn't trying to hold up play. He thought he was going to give it back to someone else and handball the ball to the wrong spot, and then the melee ensued after that. But
he'll learn that lesson, though, because I did the same thing as a young player. Gave it back to someone else, 50 metres. You never, ever do it again in your career. So he'll learn his lesson. He's in his first handful of games. So a disappointing result, but the worst part is that they all get in here and let you know about it because it's your stuff up, and they certainly did that, that's for sure.
Whose was your...
Mine was against Melbourne. Jack Trengove sucked the ball out of my hands when it was someone else's free kick. I was filthy with him.
Cost you a goal?
Yeah, no, it didn't. It was in the back pocket.
Silvani doing some of the ruck work, wins it down for Carlton, but straight to Pendlebury. Hand pass to Degoe. Under pressure, got it out to the goal kicker. Hoskin Elliott races out Myercheck. Leading from the goal square, thumps it straight onto his chest. And Myercheck can have a look from a similar spot. 25 out, just right of centre.
It was pretty clinical from the centre square bounce, and Jordan Degoe involved again, just drawing to and releasing to Will Hoskin Elliott, who was just standing there in a bit of space and hit up Myercheck, who started the game really well.
Straight out of the middle, straight onto the scoreboard. It's what they do, the Magpies. Myercheck threads it, and all of a sudden, there's a 17-point gap in the game. 15 minutes in, the Pies 4 straight, Carlton 1-1. Grandstand AFL, Brett Deledio, Mark Murphy.
Yeah, a bit of a concern at how easy that was, Murph, and the last couple of goals. There was a free kick and 50 metre, the one before that, but out of the centre and just having no pressure on Hoskin Elliott as he's coming towards, entering the 50 metre mark. I feel like someone's got to be coming off their man to at least force a loopy handball, but it wasn't. It was 1v none, an easy kicking lane for him to hit Myercheck.
Yeah. Well, that's a result of Jordan Degoe just being strong with the ball in hand. He drew 2 to the tackle rather than just backing in the tackle. You need to stand with your opponent and stand in that space and cover off that outlet.
Collingwood with 4 centre bounce clearances to 1, 7 to 5, the inside 50s. Nick Dacos gets the clearance, hand pass to brother Josh. Away he goes with half his jumper ripped. Josh Dacos from right half forward, kicks out in front of Bobby Hill. Can't take the mark. Had Mitch McGovern cold. It spills off his hands. And out of play in the right forward pocket with Sam Doherty taking it over the boundary line.
I said I'm not a coach before, but I'd be sending the runner straight to Mitch McGovern and say, mate, stand in front of Bobby Hill, I reckon. He's got you for speed.
Not sure that's a good matchup for Carlton fans. Thrown back in. Clears Silvani and Darcy Cameron. Lewis Young over the footy for the Blues. Cameron over the top of him. This is trouble. Not showing enough intent to try and knock it out in the eyes of the umpire. And the Magpies are going to have another shot on goal. And who should end up with a footy but Scott Pendlebury.
Yeah, well, it's always a danger sign if you're already on the ground and then you try and possess the ball. You need to try and stand up with the football. Lewis Young was already on the ground. The ball bobbled his way. He's gone to grab it, and that's a danger sign. Scotty Pendlebury and Cove just jumped on top, and easy holding the ball decision.
Scott Pendlebury out to the right, kicking from 35 metres out for the Magpies. 5th. He pushes it across the face. A rare error from him. And the first blemish for the Magpies. They're 4-1-25. Carlton 1-1-7. The Magpies by 18 points, 17 minutes gone.
Doherty takes some ground on the kick out, drives it up to the wing as Mackay flies for it, spills through his hands to Motlop, turns and kicks down to Charlie Curnow. He outmarks Murphy, gets up, wants to roll, kicks for an unguarded goal square. It'd have to go 65, it skids on the line and Markov carries it through. Had eyes only for the big sticks, Charlie. just a little short, and Markov helps it through for a rush behind. Magpies lead it by 17. Meanwhile, 7 minutes to go in Launceston Clinchy. It is Hawthorn by 103 points over the Eagles.
As the Magpies have worked it up the members wing, Tom Mitchell towards Bobby Hill. Big leap, couldn't come down with it over the top of Boyd. Doherty kicks around his body, up to Motlop for the Blues. Knocks it on to Captain Cripps. Hand pass looking for Walsh. Noble slides in the middle and won the battle. Gets the hand pass to Sidebottom. Away to Pendlebury, to Nick Dacos. Back to Sidebottom. Links up again with Nick Dacos. Ferocious hand passing in tight congestion. He gets the hand pass away to Tom Mitchell. Kicks close to the boundary line looking for Myercheck or Hoskin Elliott. It's over the boundary line and out on the full. Carlton free kick in the right back pocket. Collingwood leading by 17 points.
Sometimes just the little things in it, Lids. Jack Noble just getting body on Sam Walsh, who was the next chain of possession handball from Patrick Cripps, and that's a result in turnover just by simply putting a bumper on the next bloke running through to possess the football.
Out of the defensive arc. That's not a good kick. It's a turnover. Louis Young straight to Pendlebury, who marks front edge of the centre square.
That was ordinary, that kick, wasn't it?
Pies by 17. Ash Johnson, the target. 20 out from goal. Got hands to it. No mark falls to Hollands. McCreary's got him and a ball up. Still 20 out from the Pies goal. Off to the punt road end of the opening term. They've kicked the last 3 of the game and 4 of the first 5. All Collingwood from the restart. Crisp took on the tackler. Bounces it through. Stoppage goal for Collingwood, and they're pouring them in to start this game. 5-1 to 1-2. It is the Magpies by 23 points, giving the Blues all they can handle. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio on Grandstand AFL.
Well, they're shell-shocked here at the moment, Murph, I think. They got that goal from Harry Mackay early and thought, maybe things are all right for us. But since then, I feel like the Pies are almost toying with them a little bit. They're doing whatever they please at the moment on the field, and when a side's not quite on is when you get 450 stoppage goals against. And Jack Crisp was able to just, through brute strength, march his way through there. No body contact before it. Matty Kennedy, I think it was. Yeah, just allowed him to get onto his left boot, dribble that one through. Great goal from Crisp, but got to be better as a defensive unit.
Yeah, well, I think unless you get beaten by a few tricky goal, those ones where you just walk through a tackle, it's always a concern.
Collingwood's best start is 7 goals back against Port Adelaide as in the middle of the ground. Cripps won the clearance. Hand pass to Kennedy. Links up with Cher on the members wing. Up towards Harry Mackay. Worked underneath it with Murphy there. Sliding in Darcy Moore. Jack Silvani over the top. With Corey Durden, the umpire will ball it up. Right forward pocket for the Blues under the Ponsford stand. Carlton have it inside 50. Inside 50's 10-7 Collingwood's way. Thrown up, Pitnet wins it down through the legs of Sidebottom. Nick Dacos gathers. Hand pass to Crisp on half-back. Links up with Maynard. Away to Taylor Adams. A hand pass over the top to Pendlebury. Doherty pinched it, couldn't contain it. It spills Maynard's way. Back to Doherty for the Blues. Hand pass to Cripps. He sidesteps, gives it to Walsh. Kicks inside 50, he blazed away. And in the end, Darcy Moore takes the mark on the last line. He switches to Sidebottom at Collingwood.
Sidebottom takes a one-hander and keeps on moving. Southern boundary line, a couple of bounces. Still running and carrying, closed down by 2 Blues. Hand pass away to Markov. Still on the back flank. Hand pass to Noble. Kicks Collingwood down the wing, turns it over. Newman with the intercept mark. He wants to move it on in a flash. Hand pass to Owies, heads to half forward, and here's Kennedy, takes the mark right on the paint of 50, rolls, kicks it straight into the man on the mark, and Noble ricochets back to Kennedy, reloads, gives it to Owies, short kick, finds Cottrell, high up and under the centre half forward, to Goey slaps it down, straight to Cherry the Blues, still at half forward, Owies, never saw Sidebottom coming, copped the hip and shoulder, Hill got it out to Pendlebury, kicks in the middle of the ground for the Pies.
Akers was able to gather with a hand pass to Boyd, and back to Doherty, sends it out to the members wing, Walsh is manoeuvred, and Crisp takes the mark, looks up towards Jamie Elliott, who's streaming forward. He taps it to his own advantage. Boyd comes in from the side, tries to knock it back to Doherty, then clears a path for him. Doherty gathers, sends it up the members wing. Silvani and Murphy, Jack threw hands to it, couldn't hold on to it. Murphy gathers, kicks towards the 50, over Taylor Adams' head. It ricochets for the Carlton defence. Newman gets it to Chera, search and kick out of defence and finds Akers. At right half back for the Blues with Collingwood leading by 23 points.
So they got the footy, Murph. What do they need to do now, Carlton?
Just need to see it, hit it, look for the shortest route home. They've had 2 blokes there, but again, gone short. Just need to look at that 45 option and have a ping at it.
Akers short to Newman. The lefty loads up and kicks long to a contest on the wing. Mason Cox arrives, tries to punch it away. Back down the wing. Akers picks it off for Carlton. Hand pass to Chera. One down. Crisp came and got him. Just got a hand pass away. Heavy tackle and free kick going Carlton's way. He'll be picked up by Jordan Boyd. He's taken high by Tay Adams and a free kick for Boyd. The one inclusion for Carlton. He swings it all the way across the back edge of the centre square to Wiedering.
Who advances it over the top by foot to Hollands. He spots Chera free in the middle of the ground. Brings it to him to the left of the centre circles. Inside the centre square. Wanted 50 against Johnson. Now there's a blood rule. And it's taking place all the way down in Carlton's forward 50. And Harry Mackay is going to have to come from the field, streaming down the right-hand side of his face. Just for half a moment, with everyone stopped and everyone looking in what direction, it brought back memories of yesterday at Docklands with the North Melbourne interchange debacle, and working out how that actually took place with Sydney prevailing.
It's a lot of blood too coming down the face of Harry Mackay in his right eye.
Collingwood 5-1-31 to the Blues 1-2-8. Matt Clinch, Corbin Minimas, Lauren Borton, Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you. Over 100 points in Tassie. Hawthorn 21-9, 135 to the West Coast Eagles 4-2-26. And it comes as no surprise. Corby, the questions are on the SMS around Adam Simpson. Chera long inside 50. It's a big pack that forms. Darcy Moore punches it down for Collingwood. Hollands races after it, bumped off it to Goey for Collingwood. Tackled by Walsh. Locks the ball up just short of half forward for the Blues.
109 points. That's 18th beating 17th.
That's smelly, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Only 4 goals for the day. From the ball up, Cox wins it down. Hurried kick forward from Tom Mitchell, smothered. Ricochets to Saad of the Blues. 1-2 hand pass with Wiedering. Saad takes a bounce on the Go Foundation logo. Heads down to half forward. Charlie Curnow up to meet it. Hands to the footy. No mark. Slips through to Moore of the Magpies. Hand pass back into dispute. Quaynor extracts it. Got it out to Pendlebury for the Pies. Out to side bottom. They link up again, the two veterans, and he pokes the pass down the wing, and Mason Cox takes the mark. And he sports goggles. Hands it back to side bottom against the boundary line southern side. Kicks it into oncoming traffic. Ricochets off the fingertips of Hollands. Through to Newman. Hand pass back to Hollands. Still underneath the Shane Warne stand southern wing. Kicks to half forward. Darcy Moore. Third man up. Comes in to take the intercept mark and plays on immediately.
Fended off Silvani. Hand pass to Tom Mitchell. Back to Noble inside the defensive 50. Gets around Akers. Sends it out to Crisp, who dropped the mark for Collingwood. Regathers as Cottrell comes charging at him. And chips it around the members' wing to Hoskin Elliott. Magpies by 23 points. Time on in the opening term. Will Hoskin Elliott veers out to the right. Up towards Myercheck. It spills off he and Mitch McGovern. Hand pass miss Wiedering. Has to go back in and regather it. Elliott and Myercheck lay the tackle. And lock it underneath him. 45 metres out from the Magpies goal at the punt road end.
You know, we talk about playing brave. Darcy Moore, intercept mark, and then just looks to go.
Yeah.
You know, takes on the tackle. John Noble, the same, runs around Blake Akers here. They take the game on. I love it.
Pies by 23, time on opening term. Up it goes. Comes down to Tay Adams for Collingwood. Hand pass goes backwards. Mitchell, a little fumble. Going in the wrong direction. The Pies. Mitchell grabs it. He's tackled. Ball up centre square. Lauren Borden's on the boundary. Loz.
There is a fair bit of blood coming out of Harry Mackay's right eyebrow, just above that area there. He's been able to get it sorted out on the bench, though, and they've just stemmed the flow with a bandage.
Collingwood by 23. We've got another ball up here. As Cripps lays a big tackle onto Goey. No, Ump gives him a fraction longer and they got it out. So Durden for the Blues. Hand pass to Chera, gives it to Doherty. Pokes the pass out wide and Akers can run onto it on the wing.
He looks up towards half forward. Charlie Curnow's already led, so he pulls it inboard. Walsh on the half volley. Tackled by Sidebottom. Knocks it out to Doherty. Members wing. Hand pass over the top to Cripps. Couldn't take it cleanly. Crisp sides in for Collingwood. Knocks it to Mitchell. To Pendlebury. To Sidebottom under enormous pressure. Dribbles a kick to the boundary line. Nick Dacos slaps it back into play. He was held. We're not in possession. Nick Newman just trying to corral him and grab the bottom of his jumper. Nick Dacos to take it between wing and half back on the members' side for Collingwood. Comes inboard by a foot, finds John Noble. What do they go with for Harry Mackay? Is it the big staple to the forehead? Just try and stop the blood?
If it's big enough, and then the strapping to follow.
Noble's kick missed. Josh Dacos. Doherty takes the mark. Quickly wants to move it towards Charlie Curnow. Not a great bouncing kick for him. Maynard gathers with support from Murphy. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. Swung in the tackle by Durden. Releases it to Noble. Boundary side left half-back. Hand pass to Josh Dacos to Mitchell. Back to Noble. They're linking up across half-back. Now Josh Dacos in space. Kicks up to Elliott. He's all on his own. McCreary running past. Myercheck racing to the goal square. He just comes inboard on the 45. Spots up Scott Pennery, who's 55 out from home. He spots Isaac Quaynor. He's all on his own on half forward. The defender inside 50. Strikes on goal. Misses to the right-hand side. Almost the perfectly executed build-up. Just couldn't finish the final kick. Collingwood by 24 points.
Surprising that too, because he spent a bit of time pre-game, just doing exactly that, knocking them through. So, he'll rue that missed opportunity. He'll get himself another one.
McGovern on the kick out. Long ball out to half-back. Punched away from the back by Maynard, but straight down to Kennedy, the Blues. Hands it to Durden. Tumbles a kick down the wing. The Pies well set up. Murphy, hand pass to Mitchell. He was dumped after getting rid of it by Cottrell, and Murphy wants to go on with it. Mitchell sends the kick to half-forward, and Newman takes the intercept mark. 115 points. Hawthorn's lead over West Coast. Final minute of the game there, so a final score coming up shortly. It'll be the biggest win of the year, and probably the biggest win since Good Friday 2021, when the Western Bulldogs did a job on North by 128. Free kick here on the wing. It's going Charlie Curnow's way for some contact in the marking contest. Tom Mitchell a little slow to clear out. No 50. Charlie heads down to half forward. Noble intercepts for Collingwood. Tried to get it through to Moore. Cottrell forces it out. Mason Cox charging through. Paddles it out wide. Finds the safety of the boundary line. The umpire says spin it in. 30 metres out from the Carlton goal at the city end. It's the Magpies here by 4 goals. Half-hour mark opening term. Collingwood by 24.
Eagles' biggest loss was 108 points against Carlton only a few weeks ago. Corey Durden trying to get a hand pass to Kennedy inside forward 50. Spills away of Hoskin Elliott of Collingwood. Up towards half-back. It's wide of Jamie Elliott. Bounces out of play in front of he and Mitch McGovern. Pies leading by 24 points approaching quarter time.
It's full time, by the way, Clinchy. So final margin 116. Hawthorn 22-10. West Coast 4-2. So 32 scoring shots to 6. Hawthorn by 116.
Thrown back in. Pitnet got rid of Cox. Cleared a path for Doherty. Kicks up towards Motlop at half forward. Dropped the mark. Maynard hurries a kick forward towards Tom Mitchell. Couldn't take it. Walsh to Akers. Hand pass to Ed Curnow. Inside 50. And Darcy Moore takes the mark in front of Charlie Curnow. As the siren sounds for quarter time. The Blues have trailed at 8 out of the last 9 matches against the Magpies. Collingwood with the fast start once more. 5-2-32, leading the Blues 1-2-8. The goal kickers for the Magpies: Myercheck, Johnson, Hoskin Elliott, Crisp and Hill. Meanwhile for the Blues, their sole goal has come through Harry Mackay. We've got final goal kickers from that 116-point win for the West Coast Eagles. 16-point win for Hawthorn over the West Coast Eagles. So Carlton beat the West Coast Eagles by 108 points. That was in round 7, their biggest loss of the season under Adam Simpson.
Yeah, Mitch Lewis 6, Bruce 3, and then a series of 2. So Kaczynski, McKenzie, Brockman and Weddle all kicked a couple of goals for the Hawks. I think Mitch Lewis actually finished the game with a bit of ice on his ankle on the bench, so he may have kicked 10 or 12 had he played out the full 4 quarters.
So that's in the last 2 years, or this season plus 10 rounds, 4 losses over 100 points for the West Coast Eagles. Some challenging times for Adam Simpson and his Chargers in the West. Here at the MCG, it's Collingwood leading by 24 points. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Your fortune awaits. Please sit down. You desire connection to your community, to be abreast of events and up to date at all times. In your future, I see the ABC Listen app. I see you up to date with current affairs, politics, and the latest conversations on your local ABC radio station. Your reading is complete. Put that filthy money away. The ABC Listen app is as free as a bird. Now go and download the ABC Listen app.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Another crowd upwards of 80,000 in the G already. Continues to fill up as Meyer check to the top of the goal square. Floats through to Bobby Hill. He's kicked the first of the day. And a dance from Bobby too in front of the cheer squad. As he did last week, he kicks the opener. Collingwood with the first impression.
Mark Pitnet takes the mark for the Blues. Chance to send them inside 50 once more. In the direction of Harry Mackay, sets himself and takes the mark.
Well, what did I say in the pre-game about this? If this goes through, you can just watch everyone relax from Carlton.
Comes in on a 45, starts to the left, bends it right. The Blues have rhythm. And they take the lead early here at the MCG.
Silvani doing some of the rough work, wins it down for Carlton, but straight to Pendlebury. Hand pass to Degoe. Under pressure, got it out to the goal kicker. Holston Elliott races out by a check. Leading from the goal square, thumps it straight onto his chest. Straight out of the middle, straight onto the scoreboard. It's what they do, the Magpies. Myercheck threads it. All Collingwood from the restart. Crisp took on the tackler, bounces it through. Stoppage goal for Collingwood, and they're pouring them in to start this game.
The 2023 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Sunday afternoon footy coming to you from the MCG. It's the Magpies in Sir Doug Nicholls round, leading at quarter time by 24 points over the Blues. Matt Lynch, Corbin Minimas, Lauren Borden. The thoughts of your experts, Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
Well, I said it that if Harry Mackay kicks a goal early, that the Blues will be on, and they have not been. Since that goal, they almost went down the other way.
So you're a prophet until the fact that he kicked the goal as you predicted.
So no good then, Lids. Pardon? So no good then.
He's claiming half right victories, I think.
Half right. Oh, mate, I was more happy for Harry Mackay, actually, just to go back and knock it through. But, if you look at the numbers, they're actually, they're down only 9 possessions, which is fine. Contested, they're up by 1, Carlton. Their ground ball gets are up by 6. Tackles, they're the same, so they're applying pressure. They're clearance
is 10 to 9 Carlton's way.
Well, that's exactly right, but it's the pressure off the back of it. It's the implied pressure where I feel like Carlton are just fumbling or they're not quite hitting a target, whereas Collingwood are stepping through, and their ability to go from end to end just by, I can see you there, I'm drawing you, bang, handball through, they get through, and they just zigzag their way through, versus Carlton is like, oh, I've got it, I'm going to loop it over the top, and then that invites pressure, which then invites a turnover. So, and that's where Collingwood, they're at their absolute best. As soon as you loop that ball, give it any air time, they sniff that, off they come, put pressure, and they go back through the corridor at a rate of knots, and good luck to your defenders.
Yeah, it's composure with the ball in hand, and the one stat in which I'd like them to bring out would be disposal efficiency forward of centre. Do they have that, Clinchy? Because that's something that I'd love to see, because at the moment, the disposal efficiency from both teams, Carlton's sitting at 73 and Collingwood 75, so there's not a hell of a lot of difference in that, but I feel the composure forward of centre for Carlton is lacking, and they've just
25%
they've let themselves down with their execution, which is something that has plagued them all year. So it's the decision they're not getting right when they have actually kicked the ball well, and it's also just the extra half a second to compose yourself with ball in hand and hit the kick properly. Or whether it be by hand or foot, there's been options that they could have used and hit inside 50 targets, but for whatever reason they try and go quick, or they go too slow and they stuff it up, which then lends the ball back to Collingwood and gets their game going.
Mackay's out there with the head bandage, but that was the other element that allowed Darcy Moore to peel off Jack Silvani and make it almost impossible for Charlie Curnow. Second quarter about to get underway. Collingwood by 24 points. Pitnet and Darcy Cameron. It spills down the way of the Blues. Cripps couldn't take it. Tom Mitchell with a hand pass to Darcy Cameron. Up towards half forward. Boyd spoiled it down from Hill. Straight to Degoe, who fires from just inside 50. It just misses to the right-hand side. Wrestling on the goal line was Ash Johnson and Mitch McGovern. And it was just the wrong side of the right goalpost for a minor score. Collingwood by 25 points. McGovern brings the Blues back in, up towards Charlie Curnow. Can't take the mark. Mark off for Collingwood. Hand pass to Tom Mitchell. He blazes inside 50. off the outside of the boot. It's out on the full, as you can hear from Brett Delidio.
Yeah, it was. Just had more time, and most other midfielders in that Collingwood midfield take their time with it. He just gets a bit rushed at times. I think Tommy Mitchell just blazed that one away, bounds on the full.
It's been a pretty good pickup, though, for Collingwood.
Gets his hands on it a lot. You excuse him the odd mistake.
McGovern runs his full measure, tries to send it up to Charlie Curnow. Pitnet's there, wrestles it away. Darcy Cameron takes it from him. Hand pass to Josh Dacos. Up towards Mason Cox, spoiled away by Young. It trickles out in front of Paddy Cripps. He breaks the tackle from DeGoey. Gets the hand pass away to Walsh. Sends it up towards Charlie Curnow at half forward. Now he's got Harry Mackay inside 50. He turns instinctively, puts it over the head of Murphy, and Mackay takes the mark. That's better from the two key forwards.
Well, it just goes exactly what you were talking about, in that having your three-pronged attack down there makes them all of the defenders play accountable, and therefore they got pulled apart, didn't they? Darcy Moore has to come up with Charlie Curnow and gives Harry Mackay a one-out opportunity versus Murphy.
2 behinds last week for Harry Mackay. Has a goal already. Looking for his second and the Blues' second. Deep in the left forward pocket. It's across the face of goal. Decided with the drop punt rather than the snap. That's the wrong side for a left footer. Collingwood lead by 24 points.
Would have excused him probably with the big banana there, Murph. Close to the boundary.
Banana from 45 out, be a big effort, but
you back yourself. He's a highly skilled athlete.
Oh, Nick Dacos just misses a target clean, straight past side bottom, picked up by Jamie Elliott, got the hand pass away to Maynard, big sweeping Polyfarmer hand pass to Pendlebury, middle of the G, deep to Johnson, hands to it, knocked away by McGovern at the last moment, goal saving spoil. Down to Young, hand pass to Wiedering, bangs it out of the defensive arc. Nick Dacos can reload for Collingwood. He kicks it wide to side bottom. Johnson was asking the question, thinking, hang on, he took his eyes off the foot, he knocked it out of my hands after I took the mark.
No, he did very well, Mitch McGovern. He never actually made contact with the arms. He got the ball.
A side bottom into the pocket. Big Mason down there, juggled mark. Cox hangs onto it. So all fair, but spoiled for McGovern.
Yeah, well, he wasn't make contact.
He wasn't looking at the man. He was looking to just try and be a shadow almost and try and disrupt him, and then got the ball.
Ash Johnson should have jumped into him and then therefore get your free kick.
Drew the free.
Yeah.
But smart kick going inside 50 here to put it into Mason's space and let the big American go to work.
Trying to hook it across the body. Mason Cox kicks it a little skinny, misses near side. 5-4 to 1-3. Collingwood by 25 points, 3.5 gone, second turn.
Saad looks to bring the Blues back into play. Into the back pocket finds Doherty. Up to the southern wing, over the head of Hollands, looking for Silvani. Can't take the mark, brought down by Maynard. Side bottom keeps it alive. Hand pass to left half forward, overran the footy. Markov's locked up by Silvani and thrown to the turf. As we welcome listeners from York Park in Launceston to the MCG, it's Collingwood 5-4-34, leading the Blues 1-3-9. Matt Clinch, Corbin Middlemass, Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy and Lauren Borden with you on ABC Sport. The Pies led by 24 points at quarter time. We're 4 minutes into the second term without a goal having been scored. For the Magpies, goals coming to Bobby Hill, Jack Crisp, Will Hoskin-Elliott and Brodie Mychik alongside Ash Johnson, while Harry Mackay is the lone goal scorer for the Blues.
Boundary throw in, Pitternet misses it, so does everybody else. Spills through to side bottom of the Magpies. Hand pass to DeGoey, sells the dummy around Walsh. Hand pass to Nick Dacos, kicks it into the pocket. Saad had a hand on it the way through. Spills his way, Saad then follows up. Hand pass to Ed Curnow, kicks out of a defensive arc, and Sam Walsh has the footy at half-back for Carlton. Short kick finds Charlie Curnow, but he's still on the defensive side of the wing. The only goal for Carlton kicked by Harry Mackay. They kicked us the one goal to half-time last week. They got one of the opening quarter here. Kicks down towards Harry Mackay with the bandage on after a cut in the opening term. Spills to Darcy Moore. Collingwood keep it in their front half. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. Handball to side bottom. Decided against kicking it. Regathers after dropping to Sharon. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. Gives it to side bottom. Trying to be a little too cute. Hooking it across his shoulder. He puts it too wide and out on the full. Free kick Carlton at half-back, and Wiedering will take that. It's Collingwood by 25 points, 5 minutes gone, second turn.
Just going to have to clean up a bit of that drop of ball at the moment, Carlton. Every time they've gone long down the line, or whether Collingwood's gone long down the line, the front and centre play from Collingwood's been far superior so far.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Ollie Hollands at half-back for the Blues. Up towards Charlie Curnow. At Pitnet, Darcy Moore. Flying in from the side, takes the mark for Collingwood. Looks immediately inboard for Scott Pennebury. He can chip it over the top to DeGoey. Just at the edge of the centre square at half-forward. Spots McCreery all on his own. And he marks on his chest. What a masterclass it has been in execution for Collingwood with their delivery inside 50. Superb.
That's exactly right, Clinchy. That's how they would draw it up. Intercept mark on the centre wing, switch the ball inside.
Pendlebury's always there, isn't he?
Pendlebury's always there. He plays that centreman role almost to a T. Get it inside 50 to 70, find that inside target.
2 goals, 1 last week for Bo McCreery after his mum's rev up. The kick towards Johnson! Massive fly! Comes down with a rough landing. But what a great mark in the right forward pocket, right on the shoulder of Mark Pitnet.
Wow, nice. He's got that beautiful lift, didn't he, Clinchy? And up and then sideways, makes it look so much more spectacular.
It's almost like at training when the coach chucks the bag on the back and you try and set it up perfectly to have a leap at, and fell horizontal coming down, which made the mark look even bigger.
In Sir Doug Nicholls' round, steps across his body and puts through his second. Well, there's a highlight that's going to be shown for years to come. And Collingwood skip out to a 31-point advantage with the first goal of the second quarter through 7 minutes. They're 6-4-40 to the Blues 1-3-9. And I'm not sure Bo McCreery can claim it as he's trying to pass it, but it was a great mark.
Yeah, it was a mung off the boot, wasn't it, Murph?
Yeah, well, you can't do much about that. Like, that's just a mung and a great mark, so you got to hand it to him there. But the concerning part from mine, and you talked about it, Lids, was it was a slow play on the way out for Carlton. Yes, it was an intercept mark, but they just got opened up too easily. And I think if you're scouting Collingwood, you know that they're always going to do that. So don't get beaten by what you know. They need to be harder at covering off outlets from the contest, Carlton, at the moment. And Collingwood are just... their execution by hand and foot's been well superior.
They've kicked the last 5 of the game, the Magpies, after an early lead change. Pitternet wins it down. Kennedy went without it, but then follows up with a 1%er. Smothers the would-be kick from Cameron. Spills to Pitternet. Hand pass to Doherty for the Blues. Kicks to half forward. Charlie Curnow a hand on it. Spills out to Quaynor. Hand pass to Noble. Oh, there's a free kick here. Quaynor didn't get rid of the footy in the appropriate manner, and as a result, Carlton are going to get it right half forward, and Charlie Curnow has his hand up to receive the Sharon at right half forward.
Yeah, just the umpire's always looking for that both hands around. Darcy Moore had both around Charlie Curnow.
Oh, so it's a hold in the marking contest.
It was a hold in the marking contest. As soon as both arms go around and don't allow them their free run and jump.
Yeah, one arm was almost pinned as well.
Easy call.
Haven't had a heap of looks so far today, the Blues. Mackay's got one. This is a must-have for Carlton. Charlie Curnow. No problems off his boot. Straight through it goes. Carlton hang around. They get their second. 2-3 to 6-4. The Blues chasing the game big time. Collingwood by 25, 9 minutes in.
Well, good work out of the centre clearance. They managed to find space and dish it out to Sam Doherty running off half-back. But that's where their game is going to have to... if they're going to get back into this game, it's around their clearances, because that's been their bread and butter ever since Michael Voss took the role as head coach, and it's something that they've been sort of lacking a little bit this year, as their scores from clearance. So get busy around the ball, give your forwards first opportunity, and that's all they need, Charlie and Harry, is to have one-on-one contest, because even the best in Darcy Moore will try and hold down when you do get those opportunities 1v1.
Joins Jeremy Cameron with 34 goals for the season, leading the Coleman medal. Back in the middle, Darcy Cameron and Pitnet. Spills away of Cripps of Carlton. Kicks up towards half forward. Cottrell got rid of Noble, trying to clear it for Motlop. Beaten to the footy by Quaynor of Collingwood. Gathers at half back. Hand pass to Josh Dacos. Dodging and weaving around Hollands. Cuts boundary side. Sends it up the wing. What a great kick. Spots Oscar Elliott. Backpedaling, he marks between wing and half forward. Noble kept running, received the hand pass, gives it to Taylor Adams. Back to Noble at half forward, turns and kicks inside 50. Awkward bouncing ball for Newman, he gathers for the Blues. Hand pass up towards Hollands, couldn't take it. It spills the way of Walsh. He cuts away from a couple of defenders to Cottrell. Back to Walsh, hand pass to Kennedy, almost brought down by Maynard. Back to Walsh, pressure coming as Elliott lays the tackle, holding the ball. Just the relentless pressure, and Sam Walsh thought he had half a second more. Next minute, Jamie Elliott lays the tackle.
It was the right idea from Carlton. They actually came through the corridor and looked at 45 via handball, but Jamie Elliott was just too quick and too smart and saw it coming and just pressed up beautifully, and great tackle to dispose Sam Walsh of the football.
Jamie Elliott directly in front, will shoot from right on 50. 9 goals, 10 so far this season. Comes in, sets flight, it's out to the left, it's trying to come back, but not enough. Collingwood's lead is 26 points, which is a game high, 31 points was a game high lead. 26-point lead the Magpies way.
Boys with it all to do. So just the 2 goals, one for Curnow in this quarter, one for Mackay in the first. Here's Nick Newman, takes some ground and then goes long to half-back, and there he is. Patrick Cripps, big contested mark at half-back. What a game he played the last time they met in round 23. One of the best individual matches you're ever likely to see. He goes short down the wing to Kennedy, who marks southern side, swings the kick all the way back to Wiedering. And the switch is on as he comes wide to Silvani. Left it a couple of metres short of him. Silvani runs onto it, slips over. Closed down by McCreary. Trying to get a kick away off his backside. Got it to Cottrell, but he's under the pump. Hand pass back to Silvani. Short kick picked off. Elliott wins it back to Collingwood. Here they go on the slingshot. Side bottom to Nick Dacos. To Elliott, back to Nick. Hand pass to centre half forward for Adams. Clever kick to Mitchell. Takes the mark, centre half forward, 40 out. And he's going to pass it a little closer to goal for Josh Dacos.
Oh, no.
Got a nudge from Boyd, and that'll be 50. Boyd just ran into him, made contact. Josh Dacos hit the deck. The umpire bought what he sold, and now Dacos going to the top of the goal square. And Death and Taxes are less of a sure thing from there. Bangs it up into the second deck. Collingwood on a roll. The Magpies by a new high water mark. It's Collingwood by 32 points, 7-5-47. Carlton 2-3-15. Brett Deletio, Mark Murphy.
Well, I just want to talk about the buy-in from the Collingwood forwards there, and it was most evident just here right in front of us, Murph. Jacob Wedding, you hit that kick, Jack Silvani doesn't have to play on, doesn't have to keep the ball in motion, but it was Johnson and Jamie Elliott who worked all the way out of their forward 50 just to apply that pressure. McCreary came in after that, and it just puts that extra pressure on Jack Silvani. Scrubbers a kick, they win the ball back, and then it's just link up, chain and hands. The mids finally get involved, and away they go. They could have kicked that over the top way earlier, but they kept going with hands until they find that little free. Tom Mitchell, then the Dacos one, sneaking down offside winger. Great play.
It's got to be every defender's nightmare when you turn the footy over and see the hands of the Collingwood forward streaming forward. Free kick going the Magpies way in the middle of the ground. To go, he takes the advantage, puts it out in front of side bottom at right half forward. He looks inside the 50, jams it back towards the hot spot. Myercheck comes out. Well, good mark, setting himself in front. Was good mark taken by
Matt Kennedy.
Kennedy, who'd set himself right in the hot spot. He's now trying the frisbee flop to get out of Brodie Myercheck lying on top of him. But timed his leap superbly. Kennedy looks to switch it out to right half back, up towards Motlop, who marks for the Blues. Collingwood by 32 points.
Full time in Launceston, 116 the final margin. Hawthorn over West Coast as Motlop heads down the wing. Mackay had a hand on it, but it spills Collingwood's way. Mitchell, hand pass to Noble, straight through the centre corridor. Hand pass from Crisp, got it away to DeGoey, gives it to Nick Dacos, kicks to Elliott, takes the mark. In the end, on his chest, 25 out, just left of centre.
Well, again, it's that ability just to be brave. Those handballs probably weren't on, but they give it to the runner, they reward him, and just allow the player to make it up. Chris flicks it onto DeGoey and goes to Nick Dacos there when he's under the pump, but he just jams it forward and they embrace imperfection.
He kicked a winner to end the show the last time these two teams met. Jamie Elliott to try and pull the curtain down early. Through it goes. And it's Collingwood by 38 points. Only a quarter and a half in. The Magpies running all over Carlton. 8-5-53. The Baggers 2-3-15. It is Collingwood by 38-15 in.
Well, it's the quick hands, and there's numbers there around them when they're doing it.
Always numbers.
So it's not like, it's once in a blue moon, we'll go quick and we'll use it by hands, and if you stuff it up, then you've got no one to support you. They know they've got support, so they just back themselves in to go, well, that's the shortest route home. I'm going to have a crack at it. I'm going to give the handball without even really thinking and just make it up as you go. And it just looks like polar opposites at the moment, where Carlton try and move it quick, but then there's an error and there's not support, and then there's a turnover as a result, whereas
it's 1v none when they make a mistake versus 1v5 when Collingwood make a mistake.
So they're just outworking and just outnumbering so far at the moment the contest, Collingwood.
Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you. Mark Pitnet read it best against Mason Cox. Clears it with a kick towards half forward. Oh, he's worked out of it by Olaf Markov for Collingwood. Hand pass to Quaynor up the members wing. Bobby Hill got underneath it, racing back Boyd. It trickles out in front of he and De Goey. Jordan De Goey gets some high fives from the Collingwood fans, leaning over on the members' side. It's the Magpies by 38 points. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. There's a question around it being a sellout. That's, of course, all general admission seats and Collingwood and Carlton members. There is, of course, the MCC still, which determine as to how many fans we have here. Paddy Cripps for the Blues. Works it up to Matt Kennedy. He marks in front of the two benches for Carlton. Sends it up to Jack Silvani. Spoiled away by Markov. Onto it is Walsh. Spins out of traffic. Hand pass to Chera. Jams a kick towards the 50. Bouncing in front of Darcy Moore. Taps it down to McCreary for Collingwood. Dances out of traffic. Kicks it up to Bobby Hill, who marks on the members wing. He gathers the half volley.
Swings a looping hand pass to McCreary. High half forward. Links up with De Goey. He's got it against the boundary line. 60 out. De Goey to the hot spot. They're packed forwards and standing at the back. Myercheck never left the ground. Marks in front of his eyes. They all collapsed in front of him. And Myercheck will shoot from 20 out, dead in front.
Well, it just goes back again to half forwards wanting to get involved defensively. McCreary back on the half-back flank. Taking the game on as well, though. Just getting it forward. And they just open the game right up.
Brodie Myercheck from straight in front. Slams through another. They're a fire that can't be put out at the moment, the Magpies. 44 points, Collingwood's lead, 9-5 to 2-3. The couple for Myercheck, 18 minutes into the second term.
Well, it was a work rate, wasn't Liz? You just alluded to, and there was McCreary here with probably 60 or 70 out, getting back to support, drew the error, and then just on turnover, there's probably 3 or 4 Collingwood midfielders, half forwards that had got ahead of their opponent, and they just had numbers well and truly ahead. So one that just sparks me is that they're being proactive, and rather than just ball watching and following the possession, they're actually thinking about getting dangerous when they can't impact the play as well. And then I think it's more too probably just a genuine work rate to get up and down the ground harder than their opponents at the moment.
4 goals to 1 in this second quarter as Collingwood's lead balloons out to 44 points. Back in the middle, Pitnet and Cameron. Spills down the way of Pendlebury. Walsh tries to knock it out. Chera has a go at it. Hand pass to Walsh. He retreats back by hand to Mitch McGovern. Looking for options out of defence. Works it back up the southern side of the ground. Chera takes the mark. Has Walsh. Just pulls in the mark as Chris Hoskin-Elliott came flying trying to spoil. Gets the hand pass forward to Ed Curnow. Sends it up towards Charlie Curnow. Dragged down surely. No whistle. Eventually it comes. Just as Nick Dacos was about to kick out of defence. It was 50. A late whistle.
That's got to be 50. Yeah, it is. Just dropped it. Can't do that, Nick.
What were they last week? 6 goals to 1 down Murph, and they threw caution to the wind, the Blues. I feel like
they did that after half time. They need to do it right now.
They got to get that caution, and they got to throw it at the wind.
Correct.
So Charlie Curnow gets the 50-metre penalty all the way to the goal line. And a chance to send it up into the top tier at the punt road end. Carlton fans will take it any way it can come at the moment. Charlie Curnow with his second. To close the margin back to 38 points Collingwood's way. The Pies 9-5-59 to the Blues 3-3-21. Charlie Curnow's second for the match.
Yeah, that free kick was definitely there. He got absolutely ripped to the ground, didn't he, Charlie Curnow? I thought, hang on, the umpire's going to blow his whistle here, or has he got caught up in the moment?
Must have been the off-side umpire who finally got through the officiating umpire.
Let him know. Nick Dacos was away, but just dropped the footy for whatever reason and thought, no, I'm not going to give this back. Cracked the sads, threw it away. That's 50, mate, every day of the week. It was only a small little touch, wasn't it? But Dragged his arm pretty hard. Darcy Moore, definite free kick.
38 points lead for Collingwood. So just the third goal today for Carlton. They haven't kicked back-to-back goals, so they string a couple together here. Both rucks miss it at the restart. Socked forward by Josh Dacos, so centre-half forward for the Pies. Mitchell went without it, spills to Saad, centre-half back. Hand pass to Walsh, links up with Pettinet. Hand pass to Kennedy. Untidy kick inside 50 and Moore marks in front of Mackay. Centre-half back for Collingwood. 4-2 in the quarter, Collingwood's way. As Moore swings it wide to Maynard off the back flank, kicks along the boundary line, southern side. McGovern gets over the top and spoils. Down to the advantage of Cottrell, sends Carlton back to half forward. Charlie Curnow gets himself in front. He had his arms chopped and he's getting a free kick. High half forward for the Baggers. Charlie Curnow, the forward 50 fills up. In the end, he's just going to kick a high ball towards Mackay. Carries over his head. Top of the goal square for the Blues. Passing through Markov. In the end, he handballs into Mackay and only just as the Sharon roll over the behind line. A minor score for the Blues. Collingwood by 37. Time on second quarter.
As it's quickly brought back in, Noble sends it up towards the wing. McCreary was racing back, an easy intercepting mark for Mitch McGovern. Plays on, bumped as he got his kick away. Inside 50, Darcy Moore takes the mark. It's just that moment as to whether the bump was late and it would be a downfield free kick. But the 10th intercept possession for Darcy Moore. It's just a role he plays so well for Collingwood. Works it to Markov inside the defensive 50. Up to Josh Dacos. Hand pass missed, crisp. It was over his head. Sard to Kennedy for the Blues. Hand pass to Walsh. Tries to fend off Josh Dacos. Hand pass to Ed Curnow. To Chera. Out to the members wing. The kick from Newman inside 50. Charlie Curnow has 4 to beat. Spills to Owies off the back. Outside of the boot. It dribbles through. Finally, Carlton have back-to-back goals. Margin cut back to 31 points, Collingwood's way. The Magpies 9-5-59 to the Blues 4-4-28. 23 minutes gone, second term on ABC Sport. Ahead of Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio. Lauren Borton on the boundary.
Michael Voss has been down here watching those last 2 goals scored. The coach came down to the boundary to watch things from ground level, was deep in conversation with Cripps before he went on. So all the players on the boundary were huddled around Michael Voss as he said a few words before sending them on for this centre bounce now.
Oh, we've certainly got a lot of support up here in the box for that goal going through that, and they needed it too, the Baggers. They've just to get that one back-to-back makes a huge difference to them and their confidence.
They just started to win a couple of those 1v1 contests,
crucial
aren't
balls.
they? So I think they've been smart in terms of just trying to limit the amount of space and get some 1v1s around the ball.
31 points, Collingwood's lead. Blues with the last 2. Back in the middle. Mitchell, hand pass back into dispute, picked up by Walsh. He's tackled right in the middle of the G.
And they're still not getting their skill execution right, but they're having more numbers around there, which has enabled them to clean it up a little bit more. So they're certainly working a bit harder.
Another ball up. Pitternet, first hands on it. Free kick. Collingwood's way to go. He tackled without it. Advantage taken. And the umpire says that's all good as Adams kicks inside the forward 50. Hand on it from Boyd on the way through. A little fumble. Eventually controls it. Carlton win it, but retreat. Back to Young. Back to Newman. Kicks out wide and Hollands marks half back. Every game in his debut season so far for Ollie Hollands. Pick 11 in last year's draft. He goes down the wing to Doherty in a safe pair of hands. He marks in front of Noble. Collingwood by 31. Carlton with the last 2. Full house at the G. Sunday afternoon footy. Doherty a high bomb down to half forward. Pack forms. Whacked through by Murphy. Straight to Mitchell of the Pies. Sent a spiral back down to half forward. It carries the pack. Newman knocks it out towards the advantage of Chera. Comes to lend a hand. It ends up through his legs. To go, he grabs it. Hand pass to Adams. Spun around at half forward. Umpire says play on. Keep on going. Chera's got it. Pies have him. Ball up 60 out from the Collingwood goal at right half forward. 25 gone second term. Collingwood by 31.
Earlier today, Hawthorn by 116 over the West Coast Eagles, and GWS and St Kilda still to come. Walsh gets the clearance for the Blues, sends it up towards Charlie Curnow. He marks in front of the benches, members side of the MCG. Veers out to the right, looking to send it long towards Harry Mackay, wrestling with Murphy. Quaynor reaches over the top. Peeled off Cottrell and takes the intercepting mark for Collingwood. Flares it back to 15 metres out from the Collingwood goal. The left mark off marks. Sends it out to Hoskin-Elliott, who marks in the left back pocket. Collingwood by 31 points. Up to Jordan Agoe, who marks just inside the boundary line.
It's impressed me today, Jordan Agoe, as his work rate. He's certainly running on top of the ground really well. He's outspreading his direct opponents today. He's not usually known for that aerobic run, but been terrific so far.
Averaging a career best 23 disposals, Jordan Agoe this season with more midfield minutes. Gives it to Tom Mitchell, sends it up to Myercheck. Awkward landing for him. Spills to Pendlebury. Hand pass away to Taylor Adams. Through traffic to Hoskin-Elliott. Dragged down by Chera. On all fours, gets a hand pass somehow away as he slid on his knees. Spills away of Chera and Newman. And Newman now is tackled by Markoff and Hoskin-Elliott. Just short of centre-half forward for the Magpies. They lead by 31 points.
Side bottom and Mitchell with a game high 17. Ball up here, front edge of the centre square for Collingwood. Cameron and Pitternet go at it. Comes down to Doherty. Hand pass away to Chera. Kick smothered, but still reaches Akers, his intended target at half back. Links up with Cripps. Now to Boyd. Kicks down the wing. Mackay takes the mark, but he's on the wing. Wants to move it on. Threads the needle to Charlie Curnow. Now what's up front? Goes to the little guys. Finds Ed Curnow, who marks it centre half forward. Hands it back to brother Charlie on the run. He kicks goalward, but he misses. Out to the right and behind. That would have been 3 in a row for the Blues on the stroke of half-time. It is Collingwood by 5 goals neat. 9-5 to 4-5. 27 gone second term.
Better ball use there by the Blues, and then rewarding the runner running past it. That's the sign that I think that Michael Voss would really enjoy seeing, is back in your skills and then running numbers.
Collingwood by 30 points. Darcy Moore into the back pocket for Noble. Sends it up the members wing. Ash Johnson sets himself. Young spoils it down for the Blues. Bobby Hill just chips his kick up towards Darcy Cameron. Charging in was Chera. Spills it down, but Hill's onto it. Runs the members wing. 2 bounces. 3 gets the right half forward. He sidesteps start. Looks inside 50. Myercheck on the lead. Take a bow, Bobby Hill.
Clap, clap. How good was that?
I think if you're just a football lover, that's what you just enjoy seeing. And even if you're a Carlton sport here, you've got to tip your hat at that sort of football. Just running, just his work rate to get up and down the ground, but back yourself in, run and bounce, sell a bit of candy and then deliver it like that.
Brody Myercheck to finish off the work in the right forward pocket, 25 metres out. He puts through his third. Finger in the air and celebrating with the Magpie Army. Collingwood back out by 36 points, courtesy of the run and dash of Bobby Hill from half back to half forward. And that's what we want to see, our First Nations players with the freedom and joy to express what they bring to the game. 10-5-65 the Magpies to Carlton 4-5-29. 29 minutes gone, second turn.
Well, Bobby Hill had to do that too, because Carlton had actually sent Jack Silvani behind the ball, so they were playing with a +1. So if he had to just bomb that, it was an easy turnover. So well done. I don't know whether he recognised or he just saw the grass in front of him, because he got the crumbs off that big contest between Cameron and Chera. But great. I love when blokes use their speed and take it to the game. And great composure then to sell that dummy. Love that. And the finish was perfect.
Little look over the shoulder at Nick Newman. You won't catch me.
Got him covered.
Fair enough too.
Pies by 6 goals. Back in the middle, Walsh. First clean touch. Hand pass to Doherty. Hooks a kick out to that southern wing. Holland's chasing the footy. Copped an unkind bounce. Gets there eventually. Hand pass to Silvani. Under pressure. Kicks down to half forward to a one-on-one. Quaynor holds out Durden. Got it to Adams. Adams hand pass back into dispute. Nick Dacos made it look clean. Got it out to Maynard. Kicks down the wing to Goey. Hand pass to Hoskin-Elliott. Sockers it forward. Silvani running out of room. And in the end, it's out of play. A boundary throwing. Southern wing at the G. So 10-5 to 4-5. Carlton trying to build some momentum after falling behind by a game high 44. They kicked 2 in a row. And some brilliance from Bobby Hill answering that moments ago. Boundary throwing. Chera, hand pass through to Mitchell. It's knocked down to Hollands. Comes to Doherty of the Blues. Hand pass to Chera. Handball away to Walsh. Back to Chera. Swings it out wide for Ed Curnow. Tumbles a kick along the line to Durden. He kicks under pressure to half forward, but got it to Mackay. Collects, chucks it on his preferred left peg. High bomb. Big fly from the back from Motlop. Can't come down with it. Side bottom sockers it back towards their defensive goal. Hills on the last line. His hand pass knocked through by Akers. It's a minor score for Carlton. It's Collingwood by 35 points, 31 minutes into this second term. And the applause for Bobby Hill as he runs by, doing it at both ends of the ground at the moment.
Maynard looks to bring Collingwood back into play, up towards Ash Johnson. Wiedering spoils it down out in front of Motlop and Darcy Moore. Moore attacks it, lays the tackle on Motlop. He can't break clear. A ball up 45 metres out from the Carlton goal, the punt road end. 31 minutes gone in a quarter in which Carlton have been able to display their best, but Collingwood with 5 goals to 3. Side bottom from the ball up. Hand pass towards Bobby Hill. It's gathered by Degoe. Right half back for the Pies. Swinging kick out to the southern side. McCreary reels it in. Hand pass out wide to Hoskin Elliott. He gathers centre wing member side. Up towards Elliott at half forward. On the bounce has Jack Silvani. Strips him almost of it. It spills to McCreary. He tries to fend off Doherty. And the siren sounds for half time as he chips it back to Hoskin Elliott. Collingwood by 35 points at the main break. The Magpies 10-5-65 to Carlton 4-6-30. After Collingwood led by 24 points at quarter time, the Magpies with 5 goals to 3 in that second quarter. For Collingwood, 3 goals to Brodie Myercheck, 2 goals to Ash Johnson, including a hanger in that second quarter. Individuals to Elliott, Dacos, Bobby Hill, Crisp and Hoskin Elliott. Meanwhile, for the Blues, 2 goals to Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay, alongside Matt Owies as the goal scorers for the Blues.
Gee, there were some big moments in that quarter. The Johnson hanger, and then we had, obviously, Bobby Hill sort of darting through there as well. Curnow was able to kick a couple at the other end, which the Blues badly needed, but entertaining quarter of footy despite the relatively lopsided scoreline.
The Pies have it all to show at half-time. The thoughts of Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport.
Yeah, well, Liz, we spoke to Brad Lloyd before the game, and he was talking about their skill execution not quite being there, and I think that's certainly fair enough at the moment. They look like they're working hard and trying to do all the right things, but if you're not going to use the ball well enough, and especially against a side like Collingwood, even kicks and handballs which are under not really that much pressure, there's certainly a referred pressure because of how hard Collingwood are pressing and forcing errors, that they're just making simple mistakes at the moment, Carlton. And even when they are out and have the ability to use the ball quite simply looking forward, they're just missing those hands, and sometimes they're still hitting the target but forcing their teammate to stop and prop and then going back. So we've seen a lot of handballs going back and wide from Carlton, or low, and which then results in having to clean it up with another couple of handballs. Whereas if you look at the way in which Collingwood use it when they get the ball, very rarely do they go back more than once. So they might go back to release and then they look forward. But most of the time when they do get the ball, they're angling forward. All their momentum is continually forward. So that's why they're the best in the comp at the moment. They're obviously playing with a lot of confidence and they're backing in themselves, and at the moment, Carlton is still questioning themselves a little bit, and as a result, their skills haven't been quite as good. But I still feel they're working their way into the game. They can, we've seen that they can score quickly. So it's certainly they have the ability to, and every time they have got the ball in quick, Carlton, it's sort of forced an error pulling the jumper or a free kick against from Collingwood. So if they can get the ball in 1v1, Carlton, they can cause some damage. But Collingwood just looked way too slick for mine. They're exciting to watch, aren't they, Collingwood? Yeah, you just know where they're trying to go every time they get the ball in any part of the ground. You can just see numbers all piling up, ready to be used, and they're just very impressive to watch, and it's an exciting brand.
Well, and that's exactly what you think you're going to see is what you get nearly every single week with Collingwood. And it was no different to Hawthorn when they were at their absolute best, and the Tigers. You knew what you were coming up against, but it was a different story trying to stop it, and that's what we're seeing now with Carlton. How do you stop this forward handball momentum that we're seeing from Collingwood? And it was evident mostly just then with Geordie to go. He just barges his way through, but just keeps it in front of him, and they keep going forward. And then because they've got those guys that hold their width in Dacos and McCreary is a high half forward out the other side, yeah, no worries, I'll swing it out there and then we'll open the whole ground up, gives Elliott and Myercheck some work to do up front. But it's an incredibly tough game to combat for an opposition, and I think that's where it's, Carlton are doing their best, but they're falling down by not taking it to Collingwood with clean execution of their own skills. So clean that sort of stuff up, then get some other boys involved. Sard's only had the 6, Silvani's only had the 5 playing forward, and he went behind the ball a little bit late just then. Can we get those 2 boys and a couple of others to really get more involved? And who knows what can happen, but yeah, at the moment, I just enjoy the show that Collingwood put on week to week.
It feels like they're very much the measuring stick in the AFL competition in terms of form, and the Blues have a bit of work to do at halftime to try and close that gap, although you think back to round 23 last year, they did kick 8 goals to 1.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge for Michael Voss's Chargers at halftime. Earlier, it was a 116-point win for the Hawks over the West Coast Eagles. It was a lopsided affair down in Launceston, 22-10, 142 to the Eagles, 4-2-26, in which Mitchell Lewis booted 6 and Luke Bruce kicked 3. Coming up still is the Giants taking on St Kilda from Giants Stadium in Sydney. But for the moment, from the MCG, let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. The Prime Minister says the Quad Leaders Summit hasn't been diminished despite being held on the sidelines of the G7 meeting in Japan. Anthony Albanese met US President Joe Biden, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and Indian leader Narendra Modi in Hiroshima rather than Sydney as originally planned due to Mr Biden's need to return early to Washington. The meeting led to the official G7 dinner being delayed, but Mr Albanese says none of the leaders in Hiroshima complained about the hold-up.
And that says a lot about not just the way that the United States and Japan, India and Australia see the Quad. That said a lot about the way that the G7, the world's largest 7 democracies, see the Quad as well.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is due to meet his US counterpart Joe Biden later today on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Japan. Mr Zelensky will also address the gathering of world leaders. More from the BBC's Nick Marsh.
He wants support, he wants financial, military aid, but he also realises he's got to talk to more parties, get more people and countries around the table, not just the G7 allies. He needs to talk to countries like India. He needs to persuade the global south that it's in their interests to take a stance against Russian aggression. So far, he hasn't really been able to succeed. No G7 countries have really been able to succeed.
A special prayer has been offered for 95-year-old Claire Nowland at a Catholic church service in the New South Wales Snowy Mountains region this morning. The great-grandmother remains in a critical but stable condition in Cooma Hospital. She fell and hit her head after being tasered by police on Wednesday. Police said she was carrying a knife while using her walking frame. Speaking after the service, Cooma parishioner Kevin Dunn says he's known Ms Nowland for 50 years.
She's just so proud of the family, and her faith was very strong as well. We did pray in the prayers of the faithful. We prayed for Claire and her family, including all the grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
A man has been fatally shot by police in Brisbane this afternoon. Officers were responding to a domestic violence incident on a property on Days Road in Grange just after 2 o'clock. A man reportedly stabbed another man. One of the men was fatally shot by police. Residents report hearing 4 gunshots. A heavy police presence remains on the scene. A meteor has been sighted falling across Queensland skies last night. It was seen from Mackay all the way up to Cairns and as far west as Croydon around 9:30 p.m. Astrophysicist Dr Brad Tucker says it would have been between 0.5 metre to 1 metre in size.
The size and the fact that, we saw it kind of start from this small thing to really getting that big glow, that big bolide, as we say, and then even the sonic boom afterwards, and the colour all point to it being a meteor.
Melbourne's Royal Children's Hospital is calling on parents to get their children vaccinated against the flu after a survey found only 1 in 10 children had received a jab this season. The national survey of parents undertaken by the hospital found that 60% of parents intended to get their children vaccinated, but only 11% had done so. Dr. Anthea Rhodes, has warned that the flu season has arrived and the hospital has seen 5 times the number of children admitted with the flu compared to last year.
Influenza is the leading cause of vaccine-preventable admissions to hospital across Australia. Flu is particularly troublesome in children, especially those children under 5, where it is most likely to cause complications.
Polls have opened for national elections in Greece. It's the first election since the country's economy ceased to be subject to strict supervision and control by international lenders who provided bailout funds during Greece's nearly decade-long financial crisis. The main rivals are Conservative Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis and the leftist former Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras. Although Mr Mitsotakis is heading in opinion polling, a new proportional representation system makes it unlikely that any party will win enough seats to form government without coalition partners. Parts of India are sweltering through record heat waves. Many regions have experienced record temperatures above 45 degrees in the pre-summer season. The capital, New Delhi, is among affected regions. The heat has also affected grain production and farmers' incomes are being reduced. ABC News.
Mr. Dulac, how long have you been dead?
2 immortal classics from Anne Rice.
I offer my life story.
The newsreaders Sam Reed and Jacob Anderson from Game of Thrones in The Interview with the Vampire.
I can swap this life of shame, swap it out for a dark gift.
And Alexandra Daddario from White Lotus in Mayfair Witches.
You don't know what I'm capable of.
Stream all the episodes now on ABC iView.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
2 goals won last week for Bo McCreary after his mum's rev up the kick to onside. Massive fly. Comes down with a rough landing. But what a great mark in the right forward pocket, right on the shoulder of Mark Pitnet.
Wow, nice. Fell horizontal coming down, which made the mark look even bigger.
It's Sir Doug Nicholls round, steps across his body and puts through his second. Well, there's a highlight that's going to be shown for years to come. Chera out to the members wing. The kick from Newman inside 50. Charlie Curto has 4 to beat. Spills to Owies off the back. Outside of the boot. It dribbles through. Finally, Carlton have back-to-back goals. Charging in was Chera, spills it down, but Hill's onto it, runs the members wing, 2 bounces, 3 gets the right half forward, he sidesteps start, looks inside 50, Mychek on the lead. Take a bow, Bobby Hill. Brody Mychek to finish off the work in the right forward pocket, 25 metres out, he puts through his third. Finger in the air and celebrating with the Magpie Army.
The 2023 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Half time at the MCG and Sir Doug Nicholls round, and it's the Magpies leading the Blues by 35 points. 10-5-65 to Carlton, 4-6-30. The Blues had some good moments in that second quarter, but it's still the Magpies who have comfortable control of this contest at the G. The Pies, 8 wins and 1 loss so far. The Blues with 4 wins, 1 draw and 4 losses, trying to make a statement to show they deserve to be amongst the contenders for finals in 2023. Matt Clinch alongside Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio are with you on ABC Sport. Earlier, Hawthorn climbed off the bottom of the AFL ladder with a 116-point belting of the West Coast Eagles in Launceston. 22-10, 142 to the Eagles 4-6-26, in which Mitch Lewis kicked a career-high 6 goals. And for the West Coast Eagles, they're at the foot of the ladder with just 1 win for the season and a percentage of under 55. The final match of the round, taking place from Giants Stadium, sees GWS taking on the Saints. It's the return of Max King, which we're all excited to see, and Toby Green's back as well, which adds a little bit to the Giants. There's no late changes there with Cal Ward the sub again and Ben Patton for the Saints.
Worn out from last week's extra session that he had to do after the game. That's why they've made him sub again.
Dodging all the seagulls.
Oh, mate, that was ridiculous, wasn't it? He bloke's 33. Give him a spell. Come on, Nico.
In the NRL today, round 12, it was the Canterbury Bulldogs who had a thrilling win over the Gold Coast Titans, 20 points to 18 in the earlier match. And in the final match of the weekend's footy, it's the Manly Sea Eagles, 10-6 at the 27-minute mark of the first half. The Warriors have the bye for this weekend. Don't forget, if you've missed any of the audio across the weekend and you want to catch up, the lead on Saturday with Nathan Burke and Cameron Ling on Grandstand AFL Sunday with Mark Murphy and Mitch Cleary. It's all available under the best of ABC Sport. Just wherever you get your podcast from, search ABC Sport. And, of course, Patrick Stack with his ABC Sport Daily, touching on the key issues of the day and bringing it to you in a bite-sized format. Great to have the legend that is Charlie Kingy with us today. He was a part of the offside panel alongside Caroline Wilson and Kelly Underwood.
And Graham Arnold.
And Graham Arnold, the Socceroos coach. So you can catch up on that courtesy of iView. Just about every TV. It's a smart TV now, isn't it? So you just log on to the ABC app and search for Offsiders with Kelly Underwood, and a chance to catch up on all the key issues of the sporting weekend. The Magpies holding a 35-point lead. Was there enough, in your eyes, Lids, for the Blues to suggest they could potentially try and turn the tides in this second half?
Not without the help of the umpires, I don't think. A few more free kicks. I reckon that's where they got most of their looks. They did up their pressure and they started to nail a few tackles, which was great, but it's... I don't know. I think Collingwood have got control of it at the moment, and they're doing not always as they please, but take a fair turnaround from them, Clinchy, to get right back into this game. Your thoughts, Murph?
Oh, look, it's going to take an enormous effort to get back into this game. You're talking about the side who's sitting on top of the ladder, who's played some irresistible football at times this year in Collingwood. So they're going to have to be unbelievable in this second half to get anywhere near it. But as we spoke about earlier, Clinchy, they did kick 8 goals in a quarter last year in that last game in the third quarter. So if they kick 8 in this third quarter, they're a chance, but there's a lot of work to do.
Do you think, we spoke to Brad Lloyd and said, what are you looking for out of your players to walk away from this game, and how will you feel, and how do you want to see them play? Have you seen that today? Have you been happy with their execution and the way they've wanted to go at it?
At times, but I think, it's a hard one because they've certainly got the talent to hit those skills. So for whatever reason, they're not hitting them, and whether that comes back to their training or whether that comes back to what's going on between their ears.
It's confidence for me.
It is confidence, because there's players out there who just hit those targets, and not just hit them, but the momentum doesn't move from when they give the ball. They don't have to stop and prop, and they don't handball their ankles or whatever it is, but they're just not quite at the top of their game.
They're worried about missing, if you ask me. Because I look at Collingwood, they don't care if they miss. They just go for it because they know there's going to be numbers there to support, and they don't bag each other and rip each other if they miss that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Carlton bag each other or rip each other too, but I just think you're certainly seeing two sides where one is obviously sky high full of confidence because they're doing it week in, week out. They're getting results on the board by winning games of football, and the others have the other side of the coin is Carlton, where expectations have been really high and they've been questioned over the last couple of weeks, and there's no doubt that part of that, there's guys out there who probably are lacking a bit of confidence at the moment.
So when we talk about, they should play freely, they should just open up and they play free. How do you do that other than saying, go and do it? How does that actually come together, knowing, like, they are human, they're not made of stone, so they obviously understand the external pressure and the noise and the fact they're behind in the game and they're playing a good side, all those things? Or is that the art of coaching? Is that what you're always trying to unlock?
Yeah, well, I think that's the art of coaching and making players feel good about themselves, not just as people, which is obviously your work throughout the week, but as players, backing in, going out there thinking about what makes you a great player, play on those strengths. Yep, we've all got deficiencies, but once there's an error, who cares? Let's clean it up. More weight and numbers on that side of the game.
Yeah, the only issue that I find with that, and I used to see it quite regularly at the Giants, is that we're going to play free. Well, that's no worries all going forward. But it's when you turn it over, then you've got to go back the other way, that can be the real issue. And that's why coaches probably are a bit reluctant to say, boys, free the shackles. Because, the first thing to go out the window is defence. And that's where players don't tend to focus on that as their one would. It's always, how can I get the footy? How can I make this game go faster?
You spoke about it in that second quarter for Collingwood, embracing the imperfection and the string of hand passes through the middle of the ground. They don't mind if one misses. They've then got to come in with the pressure and try and lock it up. Opening goal for the Saints went the way of Max King, so a welcome return to him. for all Saints fans. The Giants have 2 on the board through Brett Daniels and Toby Green. So early stages there. 6 minutes in, it's the Giants leading by 6 points over the Saints. We touched on Hawthorn's 116-point win over the West Coast Eagles. Just for a little bit more detail to that, here was Mick Moldhouse with his analysis of the West Coast Eagles.
And it's despairing now for the West Coast, demoralising in many respects, because the efforts, you couldn't say that players haven't got the effort. It's just that they're being overwhelmed by a flood of confident Hawthorn players. So it goes in, they've got numbers all around. They've got inner players put their head in the trough, and they've got the outer, and they've been able to easily find space for shots on goal like that, which they should not do.
So Mick Moldhouse, a man who coached the West Coast Eagles and Carlton, alongside Collingwood, with his thoughts around where the Eagles find themselves at the moment on the foot of the AFL ladder. And, well, the spotlight is going to be squarely on them on Monday in the West, with the Dockers slowly starting to get their season back on track. The playing groups are just splitting, getting into position for the third quarter. You touched on it, Corby, the highlights of Bobby Hill running the boundary, Charlie Curnow kicking his second, Ash Johnson flying into the air with the floodlights starting to take over here at the MCG. So we've got some good moments. The challenge for the Blues is to try and bring a bit more of that intent and close the gap heading towards three-quarter time.
Looks like Mitch McGovern's playing forward here, so a bit of a change of personnel and different ends of the ground.
The Blues have made their sub as well, so we'll get down to Lauren Borton in just a moment, but I'm pretty sure it's Ollie Hollands who walked off in the warm-up top. I don't know if Loz with us. Yep. Have you got us, Lauren?
I've got you, Corby. I've just got to make my way over to the Carlton bench. I'm sitting right next to Collingwood, but I'll make my way over and see who's been subbed off.
So it might be George Hewitt time for the Blues. They're chasing the game. 35 points, Collingwood's lead, as Cameron wins the hit out to start the second half. Pies by 35, down towards the number 35 in Nick Dacos. He gives it to Cameron. He's tackled, and we'll do it all again in the middle. 10-5 to 4-6. Up it goes again. You can throw a blanket over 15 players now around the footy. The umpire says, I'll have it once more.
Matt Kennedy's playing on Brody Mychek, so a bit undersized down there. Probably expect Jackson Varney to go back and play there at some point.
Similar quads.
Up it goes. Bitternet knocks it away. DeGoey had a touch on the way through. Ends up with Doherty. Kicks to centre half forward. Moore just kicks it off the deck back into the middle of the ground. Ed Curnow collects for Carlton. Hand pass to Doherty. Handball to Chera. Side bottom tackles him. Ball comes out. Says play on. Here's Jack Crisp for Collingwood. He's tackled. He's in strife. Holding the ball. The umpires all looking, the players all looking to the inside of the ground. The umpire was on the outside. The kick goes into the pocket for the Blues. Not a good one. Spoiled away by Quaynor. It's out of bounds and a throw in. Forward pocket here for Carlton.
That's the wrong option there. I think it was Harry Mackay and Mitch McGovern were doing a bit of work in the goal square, trying to free up someone to get some space on the far side, but I think it was Charlie Curnow's pace that drew the kick.
Collingwood by 35 points, thrown back in. Cameron worked his way to the front against Pitnet. Cripps pitched it off, couldn't get a kick away as Cripps lays the smother. Spills the way of Nick Dacos. Hand pass over his shoulder. Collingwood deep in attack. Noble tries to bury his way through. He's taken over the shoulder. It's a Carlton free kick, though. It's going the way of Noble. It is Noble's free kick. Just for half a second. Thought Sam Walsh might have almost convinced the umpire, but John Noble has it in the back pocket. Points up the southern wing in the direction he intends to head it. Long kick, Sard flies in front of Mason Cox. It never got to him, and he's off at half forward, into the pocket, turns it straight over. Quaynor takes the mark as Charlie Curnow was trying to lead to that pocket, but Quaynor read it best.
Corey Durden, who's started the quarter on the bench, he's on the phone already, so he hasn't been on the ground. We've just had half time, and he's already on the blower. Up to the box, there's a free kick here on the wing.
Sat in the wrong seat, Corby.
Yeah,
that's what they told him.
It's going Young's way. So Carlton are going to get a chance to put it back inside the forward 50. Kicks to centre half forward. There's Darcy Moore. She drops the mark he'd ordinarily take. Falls down towards Ed Curnow. He's tackled. Ball held to him. Hump says ball up.
He's got lucky there with the drop mark, but just some terrible entries to start this third quarter by Carlton, who have had all the play, but just again decision-making and execution going inside 50.
Blues to the city end, Pies by 35. One down to Nick Dacos. Look away handball, picked up by De Goey. Hand pass to Maynard. Shakes a would-be tackler. Kicks in the middle of the ground for Crisp. Jams it on the boot up into the front half for Collingwood. Bouncing footy sits for Young of the Blues. To Sard and a hand pass out wide for Cottrell on the wing.
Looks up the southern wing. Tries to put it out in front of Chera and Sidebottom. Sidebottom gets there first. In front of Walsh. Hand pass to Darcy Cameron. To Pendlebury around the southern wing. Through the hands of Jordan De Goey. Elliott's there to clean it up. He might give it back to De Goey. At right half forward. Ran into Louis Young. It spills the way of Owies, who's sliding into his legged. And we'll get the free kick for the Blues across half back. De Goey's tackle just slipped down and in the end got him around the ankles. Matt Owies working hard up the ground, has it left half back. Collingwood by 35 points. Sends it up the southern wing. Harry Mackay the target. Punched away by Darcy Moore of Collingwood. Sidebottom's hand pass to Cameron. Puts it straight over the boundary line. Out on bounce on the full. And the Blues will take it at left half back. Doherty takes it. Inboard to Newman. And now to Young, who looks at options, and he's going to give it back to Newman. This is the old Blues who chip it across half back. Returns it to Doherty. Looking for options in the middle of the ground. Blake Acres had it in front of Ed Kerner. It was punched away at the last moment by Crisp. Hand pass to Bobby Hill. Hand pass missed Myercheck. Races after it. Taps it away from Wiedering. Wiedering races back onto it. Dragged down by Myercheck. Acres gets back for the Blues. Bobby Hill lays the tackle. Locked in the left forward pocket for the Pies. Carlton brought that pressure back upon themselves. The inability to find an outlet kick.
Sometimes you just got to back your forwards in 1v1 down the line. Just give them a contest and then reset from there. They refuse to do it sometimes.
Pies by 35, 5 minutes into the third term. Up it goes. Darcy Cameron knocks it down. Another pack forms. And we'll have a ball up half forward for Collingwood. Lauren Borden on the Carlton bench. Loz.
Like you mentioned, Corby, Ollie Hollands has come to the back of the bench and George Hewitt is injected into the game. He's still sitting in the front of the bench, though, with his jacket and warm-up top on, but he will be coming on shortly.
Thanks, Loz. Few jackets on up here, it must be said as well. The window open as Pitternet knocks it out of bounds.
She's brisk, isn't it?
Oh, it's what do they reckon? It's 13 degrees. It feels even cooler than that. Boundary throw in here. Half forward for the Pies. They're kicking to the punt road end in this third term. They lead it by 35 points.
Michael Boss down on the bench as Pitnet throws a boot onto it. Inside forward 50 for Collingwood. Elliott trying to hassle Doherty. Gave it to Acres. He's locked up. Jack Crisp lays the tackle with the support of Jamie Elliott. Left forward pocket for the Magpies. They lead by 35 points. Tossed up in the air. Pitnet and Cameron. Spills down the way of Chera. Locked up by Crisp. In the arms, but had no prior opportunity. Another stoppage in the left forward pocket for the Magpies. Floodlights starting to take over here at the MCG. Pies by 35 points. Pitnet knocked it down. Got it to Nick Newman. Clearing kick towards half-back. Darcy Moore works his way to the front. Another intercept mark for him. He's up to 11 intercept possessions for the game, the Collingwood captain.
Has he been best player on the ground so far? God, he's been good.
Yeah. He's going to load up and kick it to the top of the goal square. Mason Cox down there. Mason with the juggled mark. And the big 7-foot American standing in front of the whole pack takes a juggled mark. He'll kick from 25 out straight in front.
Is there any better after he's taken a mark and the walk back to when he's going to take his kick than this bloke?
And his shoulders are all the way back.
He couldn't pin him any further, could he?
Just grazing the goalpost at the city end, his shoulders.
And so he should, though. That's a great mark. He had one arm pinned and just controlled it, whether the 1 minute, 2 or 3 occasions, and then finished off with a double grab. This is good form.
Loves a goal too. For a guy that grew up playing a game with a foot violation, he's a superb kick of the footy. He lets me down here right on cue though. He's just missed a little bit out to the right, so I'm behind. 10-6 to 4-6. It was a perfect lead up. I just needed Mason to put that one straight through. Pies by 36, 7 gone third term.
Just the weight of the wobble might have been to the right.
I think so.
Sard brings the Blues back into play. Up towards Charlie Curnow. He flies with Pitnet. Spills down the way of Motlop. Got a hand pass away. It's slipped over to Durden. To Cripps. He turns it over looking for Charlie Curnow. His tackle just went a little high on Braden Maynard. And a chance for Collingwood to go inside 50 once more. So the Blues not quite starting with the intent in which Michael Voss would have hoped for. Collingwood about to head inside 50 for a third time. The Blues with 3 inside 50s. Long towards Mason Cox. Standing tallest is Lewis Young. As Cox was nudged underneath the footy, it takes the intercepting mark for the Blues. Collingwood by 36 points. Young in the back pocket, looks up the members' wing. Charlie Kerner the target. Darcy Moore flies for these and brings it down once more. Durden for the Blues, hand pass to Chera. Links up with Sard at left half back. Almost tackled by McCreary. Dropped the ball, got it back. Hand pass to Nick Newman. Links up with Silvani across half back. Searching hand pass to Wiedering. And left half back in 2 minds. Runs into Hoskin Elliott. Feeds the hand pass back to Silvani. Works it to Matt Kennedy. They haven't advanced forward yet. Inboard to Newman.
Newman looks into the middle of the G for Paddy Cripps, who takes the mark, the Brownlow medalist, pokes the kick down to centre half forward. Ed Curnow marks. He's still 2 kicks from goal. He looks inside 50. Owies stands in front of Mackay and Moore charging at him. And Matt Owies comes up with it 30 out straight in front.
Well, they finally got there, Carlton. It took them probably 3 or 4 occasions of just going side to side. And it was Jacob Wiedering just got caught in 2 minds about what to do, which froze. Lucky enough, Matt Kennedy ended up getting the ball and then having a go at that 45 inside kick. But they moved the ball quick there with limited risk and just was smart and backed in their skills and get a shot on goal as a result.
Kicked 3 last week. He's got 1 already. Matt Owies for the first of the second half to give Carlton a bit of life. He misses. Out to the right. Both teams trade behinds to start this third term. It's 9 minutes old. Collingwood by 35 as they were at half-time.
I didn't want to moz him, but he had kicked 7 straight from set shots this season. Not to be. Nick Dacos looks to bring the Magpies back into play. Up towards Darcy Moore. Darcy Cameron never got to him. Tom Mitchell has to try and gather it. Hand pass to Josh Dacos. He's wrapped up and holding the footy. Corey Durden with the tackle, and the umpire says he had prior opportunity. Hot whistle.
Wasn't it?
Little sidestep, and that was about it. Corey Durden at right half forward for the Blues. As Charlie Kerner in the goal square sends it in that direction. Darcy Cameron sets himself, clears him, whistle. Carlton free kick. Charlie Kerner was held in the eyes of the umpire, and he'll line up directly in front, 20 metres out from goal.
What did I say at half time? Without the help of the umpires, I'm not sure that the Blues can get back into it, but you hold on, you run that risk, don't you?
Darcy Moore had a hold of the front of the jumper as Charlie Curnow comes in and steers through his third. Trying to lead the Blues fight back as Collingwood's lead has cut to 29 points. 10-6-66 to Carlton, 5-7-37. The Blues with the first goal of the third quarter that comes at the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, as good as Darcy Moore's been, he's probably given away 2 or 3 goals with a few errant, free kicks, arms across and holding on. So when there's an opportunity to try and get into Charlie Curnow, and that was a great kick because it wasn't just put into the top of the square on someone's head. It was actually put with a bit of pace and a bit more zip and put to his space. So it gave him a chance to run and jump at it. And that just caused a little bit of confusion for Darcy Moore, and it was an errant ball which went across Charlie's face. But that's the danger of having Charlie Curnow deeper and an opportunity to give him 1v1 opportunities because he's drawing free kicks at the moment.
Holland's out of the game. Tactical sub George Hewitt in. Magpies yet to use theirs in Jack Ginnivan, the unused sub at the moment. 29 points. Collingwood's lead back in the middle. Jack Silvani grabs it. Cameron locks him up and a ball up again in the middle. Carlton with the first of the second half. Can it spark the Blues? Silvani grabs it out of the ruck. Free kick for a hold. He got rid of Cameron illegally. Free kick Collingwood. And a bit of go forward out of the middle here for the Magpies. As Cameron kicks out wide for Oleg Markov, who takes the mark forward of the southern wing. Tries to dart a kick inside 50, hits up Jamie Elliott in that channel at right half forward, 60 from home. Crowded forward 50, just about every player on the ground in front of him at the punt road end. Elliott out of range, he just lays it up to the top of the goal square, and Akers takes the intercept mark on his chest. Last line of defence for Carlton. It's Collingwood by 29 points, 12 and a half gone third quarter.
Works it out to Wiedering, who marks in the right back pocket for the Blues. Doherty's free. Spots him up, still inside the defensive 50. Looking for options. Members side gets right underneath it. Have a fly at that. Harry Mackay, it's close to the boundary line. He pinches it off the hands of Quaynor, but it was over the boundary line. And a throw in between wing and half forward for the Magpies. They lead by 29 points. Just following up your point, Lids. 3 of Carlton's 5 goals have come from free kicks. As it's tossed back into play. Silvani's in the ruck work against Cameron here. Spills the way of Tom Mitchell. Outside of the boot towards Hoskin Elliott. Bounce up his chest. Young was composed. Hand pass to Kennedy under pressure for the Blues. Bobby Hill trying to get a toe poke to it. Was he dragged down when he didn't have it? Umpire waves play on. It's locked to the chest of Mitch McGovern. Kennedy comes sliding in.
Well, most of them are coming from slower plays, aren't they? They're not clean plays where they're just able to go length of the ground and hit up a key forward leading out.
Pies by 29. 11 gone. Third term as Silvani grabs it out of the ruck, kicks in the middle of the ground. Curnow raises up. Charlie Curnow takes the mark, looks for his partner in crime, Mackay. Murphy spoils it away from him. Mackay hits the deck, and Murphy wins the footy for Collingwood. Hand pass to Markov, short kick to Noble.
A genuine hard tag at the moment on Nick Dacos from Ed Curnow.
Noble goes short to Josh Dacos. Marks in front of the Carlton race at half-back. Pies by 29. Josh Dacos kicks in the middle of the ground. Darcy Cameron strong amongst a bunch of bodies. Pulls down the contested mark for Collingwood, outer edge of the centre square. Oh, he goes wide to Josh Dacos, just over his head. Now he's hit the deck. Pressure handball down the wing.
Towards Noble is under the pump from Charlie Curnow. Footy stuck underneath him. It spills out the way of Akers. He's dragged down by Josh Dacos. And the umpire will board up. The Blues have 44 disposals to Collingwood's 33 in this third term. So getting their hands on a little bit more of the footy. Inside 50s are 5 apiece. Collingwood by 29 points. Tossed up in the air. Jack Silvani tries to flip it over the back to Paddy Cripps. Could have been tackled when not in possession. Hand pass comes out to Bobby Hill. To Mitchell. Tries to knock it on to Pendlebury. Becomes the tackler. The umpire will board up. With Jordan Boyd back in the Carlton lineup and under the former Collingwood's vice-like tackle, and Paddy Cripps is into him. A couple of the best midfielders in the AFL. Darcy Cameron tries to slap it towards the wrestling. Sam Wells for the Blues. Hand pass to Boyd. Kicks inboard. It's a good option. He finds Kennedy. Played on. Ran into a dead end of McCreary. Jabs it back to Hewitt. He marks between wing and half forward. The sub's on. Works it to Akers. To Ed Curnow. He goes long towards the goal mouth. Searching kick. It's offline and too far for Owies. Through for a minor score to the right-hand side. Collingwood by 28 points. 15 minutes gone, third term.
It's a few 1v1 contests out there at the moment. Paddy Cripps and Scotty Pendlebury going head-to-head. Ed Curnow's going head-to-head with Nick Dacos. Bit of genuine 1v1 football.
Quaynor brings it into Markov. A long kick down the line. Mason Cox fingertips to it. Slips out of play, though. And a throw in just forward of the wing for Carlton.
I feel there's been a few challenges set by Michael Voss at half-time.
Yeah, like it.
Corbin, Middleman, and Matt Clinch, Lauren Borden on the boundary. Grandstand AFL experts, Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio. Collingwood by 28 here at the G. 16 gone, third term from the boundary throw-in. Tom Mitchell jumps on top of it. They all rush to him. He's tackled, and a high tackle. Free kick for the Brownlow medalist. And Tom Mitchell's going to get it. Eventually, as he's the last body up, and they all separate. He's got the footy on the wing as the four shadows start to appear, meaning that the floodlights have kicked in. It's Collingwood by 28.
Saints by 2 points over the Giants, approaching quarter time there. Mitchell kicks towards half forward, waitering with a one-handed mark. Was able to fend off Mason Cox and beat him in the air. And he marks it right half back. Pierces a kick towards Jack Silvani. Noble slides in, spoils it down. Hand pass to Nick Dacos to brother Josh. Kicks inside 50. Hoskinelli the target over his fingertips. Clears here Newman. Running on McCreary. He breaks away. Hand pass to the top of the goal square. To Mike. Get through for his fourth. Mitch McGovern just couldn't get a hand on Bo McCreary. And from that point onwards, he became the provider. And Myercheck did the rest. Collingwood by 34 points, 11-6-72 to the Blues, 5-8-38. A goal apiece in this third term through 17 minutes.
Well, it takes all the air out of your sails, doesn't it, when He did such great work, Jacob Weeder. He wins that ball back, but then slow and hesitant to move the ball on. He had Harry Mackay down here versus Isaac Quain. Now, tell me that's not a mismatch that you should be trying to isolate. Get the ball moving out of your hands. Get it forward, back in your forwards. Instead, you go for a 50-50 short ball that Noble spoils, and then that just plays into the hands of Collingwood. They back in their teammates, running, linking play. And McCreery, again, just getting reward for effort, continually showing up, putting on the defensive pressure, puts it back into the hands of Mychek. Another goal.
34-point lead again for the Magpies. Mason Cox back in the middle, wins it down. Mitchell feeds a hand pass forward for Collingwood to Pendlebury to Josh Dacos. Sweeping hand pass to half forward. Boyd lets it slip by him. McCreery grabs it and Boyd helps him over the boundary. A throw in 60 out from the Collingwood goal. Another bumper crowd at the MCG. 88,000 anticipated, which is what they had late last year. Really good roll up again, despite the cool day in Melbourne from the boundary throw-in. Pitternet wins it down. Pendlebury, was he tackled high? Ump says no. Patrick Cripps locks him up. And a ball up between wing and half forward for the Pies. Collingwood by 34, 19 gone, third term.
Thrown up, Pitternet wins it down to Walsh, who lost his footing. Mason Cox over the top of him, arm outstretched with McCreery and Mitchell. He's just a little bit slow to rise, Sam Walsh. It's the opening 5 rounds of the AFL season. Cox wins down the tap to Tom Mitchell. Hand pass to Pendlebury, feeds off Walsh, kicks towards Ash Johnson, couldn't take it cleanly, trying to knock it onto McCreery. Hewitt slides in, gets the hand pass to Young for the Blues, to Doherty at right half back, drives the kick up the members wing. Darcy Moore and Charlie Curnow. Moore wets his way to the front, palms it down, Akers charging through, gathers, hand pass on the bounce for Walsh, slipped over, ran into Crisp, too high. Walsh probably got a little bit lucky in the end with the slip. He was flat-footed. Hand passes to the Carlton captain, Patrick Cripps, long inside 50. Flying from behind McGovern. Spoiled down by the Collingwood defence. Noble gathers, slips over. Motlop lays the tackle. Noble trying to knock it out. Umpire says holding the footy.
It's on it.
And there's a little bit going on between Charlie Curnow and Braden Maynard. A little ragdoll throw to the ground from Maynard. And Jesse Motlop's trying to have the shot on goal as the reinforcements arrive.
Just a little show of strength there, wasn't it, from those two boys? Seeing who does their weights. Like it.
It was good. Get the ball in quick, create a contest, and I know it was a slip up and on the ball, but get the ball in quick there. Give your forwards an opportunity at the contest, and then get busy at ground level.
5 minutes in from the boundary. Jesse Motlop's going the snap. It's across the face of goal towards the goal squares. Punched down by Hoskin Elliott. The umpire with a whistle. It's a free kick going Collingwood's way.
Crowd loves it.
It's going the way of Nathan Murphy, who could feed it around the back to Nick Dacos.
Tried the 50-metre check side on the outside of the boot as the kick out of the defensive arc from Nick Dacos as a turnover. And Silvani takes the intercept mark. He kicks to centre half forward for Ed Curnow. Hand pass away to Chera. Kicks deep inside 50. Charlie down there. Moore knocks it away. Murphy grabs it. He's gang tackled. Top of the goal square for Carlton. And a ball up 12 metres out from the Blues goal at the city end.
It's gone up a level in the last couple of minutes. Bit of spice coming out there. A few boys throwing it their weight around a bit, which is good to see. Crowd's involved.
And now Murphy's on the ground. The umpire just chucks it up. Cox wins it down. Ball spills to DeGoey. Hands it through to Sidebottom. Hurried kick straight to Chera. Takes the intercept mark. Centre half forward for Carlton.
Good pressure there by the Carlton players inside 50. Just working hard, just trying to tackle, harass, force an errant kick from Steele Sidebottom, who's trying to get the ball in the boot quick and get it out of the area. But Chera set up in a really good spot. Takes the easy mark.
Kicked a couple last time they met. Round 23 last year. I'd love one from him here. Adam Chera, the second-year Blue. The kick is on its way. It's offline. A bronze cheer from the Collingwood fans behind the goals at the city end. Pies by 33, time on third quarter.
They've had about the last 5 or 6 shots on goal apart from Brody Mychek's fourth. Nick Dacos brings Collingwood back into play. Up to Noble at right half back. Around the boundary line to Mychek. He marks in front of Sard. Centre of the southern wing. Kick inboard, Mr. Goey. Picked up by Cripps of Carlton. Hand pass to Chera, inboard for Pitnet. It's wide of him. Mason Cox races after it. Leaves it for Josh Dacos. Hand pass to Tom Mitchell. Turns member side. Kicks to McCreary. Sliding in down low. Boyd got his fingertips underneath it. And claims the mark member side.
That's a kick.
Kicks towards Cripps, backpedaling, hand pass over the top to Motlop over his shoulder to Akers running boundary side. He wheels onto his right, long to the goal mouth. Side bottoms back with more, spoils Charlie Curnow. And the Collingwood captain slaps it back through for a behind. 32 points, Collingwood's lead, but the Blues are trying to mount a fight back.
Yeah, you feel they've been tickled up by the senior coach about getting their contest right. When it is your opportunity to win that 1v1, you better win it. And you feel they've certainly picked up in that area of the game, Carlton, but they're still just not getting those basics right and finishing off all their hard work.
5 of the last 6 scores, as Clinchy touched on, for Carlton. So 1 goal for to 1-1 in the quarter. Noble runs and carries up the back flank after marking the kick out, goes up to the wing, comes down to Jack Crisp, pokes the pass forward, and Jordan Boyd takes the intercept mark. A couple of nice things, Boyd. The only inclusion this week for Carlton. Goes short to Young. Now he stands and thinks, where am I going with this? He kicks in the Charlie Curnow direction. Pitternet also in the pack. Punched away by Darcy Moore, but punches it deeper inside Carlton's forward 50 and out of play. In front of Motlop and Maynard, and a throw in right forward pocket for the Blues. Collingwood by 32, 24 travelled third term on Grandstand AFL. Interesting stage in the game.
The Blues with 1-4. Cox knocks it to the front. Motlop swoops in. Tackle by Noble. Umpire circles and will ball it up. 45 metres out from the Carlton goal at the City end. The Blues 5-10-40 to Collingwood 11-6-72. Plenty of numbers around this contest. Cox sets himself against Pitnet. Pitnet jumps early. Cox wins down the tap. Spills to Hewitt. Hand pass to Akers for the Blues. Shrugs off to Goey to Cripps. He chugs off Josh Dacos. A hand right in the middle of the chest. Hand pass back to Boyd. Blazes away inside 50. It flares out and out of bounds on the full. In the left back pocket for Collingwood. Darcy Moore will take the free kick. Collingwood by 32. Meanwhile, quarter time at Giants Stadium. GWS 4-1-25 to the Saints 3-3-21. We'll take you there at the completion of this game.
A lot of footy in their front half. Not a whole lot of inroads on the scoreboard for the Blues as Moore goes long to half back. There's a free kick here for Mason Cox. Pack of around 5 or 6. He was infringed upon in the marking contest. 32-point lead for the Magpies, approaching three-quarter time. Kicks it in the Pitternet direction, got a hand to it. Spills down to Elliott. Surge kick down the line. Bouncing footy. Still alive. Wiedering close to the boundary line. Bobby Hill closes him down. Backs him out of play. Says throw it in. Oh, that ball just wouldn't go out. And Wiedering desperately wanted the safety of the boundary line. Bobby Hill pressured him out of play. No whistle for the Pies. A throw in, 48 out from the Collingwood goal. Pies by 32, 26 gone, third term.
Darcy Cameron couldn't get there in time, so Pitnet double palms it down towards half-back. Motlop trying to run onto it. Akers overran the footy. Josh Dacos for Collingwood. Half pass out to Walsh. He can't link up with Hewitt. He did keep it in play. Everyone expected it to go out of play, but he gathers. Hand pass to Chera. Wants something in the middle of the ground. Kicks towards Boyd. Side bottom came fly the other direction. And Boyd's down. Picked up by Markoff of Collingwood. Hand pass to Adams. To Hoskin Elliott. Inside 50. Myercheck 2 against 1. Racing back. Wiedering. Got a fist to it. Myercheck was well set. And the reinforcements arrived just in the nick of time.
Yeah, well done by Jacob Wiedering. Looked like he was dead in the water, wasn't it? But he just turned his body around, and great technique to get his arm in the area and not force a free kick against.
Quarter time in Sydney, Giants by 4 over St Kilda. Last game of the round already underway. We'll take you there next. From the boundary throw in, Boyd kicks out of the defensive arc. Hand on it from McGovern. Knocks it down, and it's out of play in front of Walsh and Maynard. And a throw in, 60 out from the Pies goal. Collingwood still with their sub up their sleeve. Jack Ginnivan, who was unwell during the week. This was Ash Johnson, by the way. He's played okay. Took a hanger and kicked a couple of goals already. Boundary throw in here. Approaching three-quarter time. Collingwood by 28. Close to the boundary line. Hewitt trying to take on a couple. Feeds a hand pass through to Chera. Handball to Doherty. Still at half-back. The Blues. Pitternet gives it to Ed Curnow. Hoskin Elliott got the tackle, holding the ball. Free kick for Collingwood. They'll get it just forward of the wing through Will Hoskin-Elliott.
It's great pressure, wasn't it? That's why they're on top of the ladder. Carlton did a lot of things really well there. They hit their hands really well. It's just great chase down pressure.
Not bad from your ruckman.
They're going to play the follow-up tackle. So Hoskin-Elliott laid the first one, and then in the end it's Darcy Cameron who's going to get it.
Back in for the first time since a knee injury against the Tigers. Inside 50, Pitnet punches it down straight to Cottrell, who's locked up by Sidebottom. The umpire will ball it up right forward pocket for the Magpies. Collingwood 11, 672. Carlton 5, 10, 40. Matt Clinch, Corbin Minimas, Lauren Borton, Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you. Sunday afternoon footy. Thrown up in the air. Pitnet palms it down. Straight to Walsh. Off balance. Kicks towards the defensive 50. Crisp going back. Takes the mark for Collingwood. On the run. He'd almost be half a chance here, but he's out to the right. Veers out to the left. Puts it as deep as he can. Johnson's the target. Tries to fly again. Can't come down with it. Mychek fends off an opponent. His kick is smothered. Hoskin-Elliott lays the tackle over Young. Ball stuck underneath a couple of players now. Hoskin-Elliott can't rip it clear. The umpire will ball it up. Top of the goal square for the Magpies. They lead by 32 points.
Up it goes, Pitnet and Cameron. Cameron wins it down. Motlop onto it though for the Blues, or sells a dummy around Elliott. Kicks out of the defensive arc. There's only two guys there. McGovern's one of them. Goes up, got a hand to it. No marks, spills to Moore, puts it back inside 50. Right on the bell. And that'll do us. To three-quarter time, Elliott just laid a little bump on Newman right on the siren, and Motlop comes and says, how you going? And now all of a sudden we've got another little melee. They've been at it all day, these two teams. A few little spot fires. In terms of the scoreboard, it's been Collingwood who have been out in front. And again, they lead by 32 points here as we turn for home. So Collingwood 11-6-72, Carlton 5-10-40. It's a 32-point lead for the Magpies. I've got 4 for Brody Mychek, 2 for Ash Johnson, and then singles for Elliott, Hill, Crisp and Hoskin-Elliott. Meanwhile for Carlton, 3 goals for Charlie Curnow and then 1 each to Mackay and Owies.
Earlier today it was a 116-point win for the Hawks over the West Coast Eagles. Hawthorn 22-10, 142 to the West Coast Eagles, 4-2-26. 6 goals to Mitch Lewis, 3 goals to Luke Bruce. And it means the West Coast Eagles are on the bottom of the ladder, 1 win and 9 losses, and a percentage of 55.4. Meanwhile, the first goal of the second quarter going the way of the Saints. Max King has a second in his first game back. And the Saints lead by 2 points, 4-3-27 to the Giants, 4-1-25. And we'll take you there at the completion of this game at the MCG. Sunday afternoon footy on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
I've been waiting for you. Please sit down. You've been blessed with many heirs and heiresses. In the future, I see your children entranced by the ABC Listen app, understanding the world with news time, laughing out loud to story salad, and being lulled to sleep with story time and lullabies. Your reading is complete. Keep your money. The ABC Listen app is as free as the wind. Now go and download the ABC Listen app.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
There's Charlie Curnow in the goal square, sends it in that direction. Darcy Cameron sets himself, clears him, whistle, Carlton free kick. Charlie Curnow was held in the eyes of the umpire. Darcy Moore had a hold of the front of the jumper as Charlie Curnow comes in and steers through his third. Trying to lead the Blues, fight back. Noble slides in, spoils it down. Half pass to Nick Dacos to brother Josh. Kicks inside 50. Hoskin-Elliott the target over his fingertips. Clears he and Newman. Running on McCreary. He breaks away. Half pass to the top of the goal square. To Mychek through for his fourth.
The 2023 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Collingwood lead by 32 points at three-quarter time, 11-6-72 to the Blues, 5-10-40. Great to have your company for Sunday afternoon footy, whether you're listening to us on analogue radio, via your digital radio and the ABC Sport button, or of course the ABC Listen app. Just download it and you can take the footy wherever you're heading across the weekend. Matt Lynch, Corbin Middlemass, Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio and Lauren Borden with you. I was especially interested in that quarter, Lids. It felt like at times Carlton were almost playing with three forwards, three or four forwards, with Mitch McGovern pushing all the way up the ground, and also Matt Cottrell as well, who was trying to sort of play that role, which makes it incredibly hard for Carlton's forwards.
It does, but they still managed to get opportunities, though, Clinchy. They just weren't able to capitalise on it. You know, kicking 1-4 for the quarter versus 1-1 for the Pies. And you kick, 4-1 that the other way. Geez, it makes this game right on. Makes it really interesting. And a lot of, trying to think back, were they all really gettable? I mean, they ended up with a couple of shots potentially, or the Curnow one was a free kick against, but then there's a couple of others there that maybe might have been 50-50. The point I'm trying to get at is they upped their intensity. Yeah, they did. And it was obvious that at half-time there was just a few little barbs that might have been thrown out, and you could see the way boys were actually not allowing blokes just to run past. They were putting more effort into, just holding onto that tackle or putting a bump on to not allow that easy overlap handball.
They were just being more physical everywhere around the ground, and there was a few challenges, no doubt, thrown out to a few senior guys, and around the contest there was real anger and a few hits around Patrick Cripps. He was trying to tackle to hurt. There was Ed Curnow, who was just laying in physically to Nick Dacos at every opportunity, and then across the ground there was little spot fires everywhere, but they just didn't make the most of their opportunities. They're trying to get the smaller half forwards to press high up the ground and help the defence, but they probably weren't resetting quick enough, or the player with ball in hand was too quick to try and get the ball moving forward and just kicking back into the numbers. And then if you don't make the most of your opportunities, kicking 1 goal 4 against a really good side, if you kick a couple of more of those, then you're right in amongst this game. There's a lot left to do in this last quarter, but I continually say, they've got the firepower to do it, which they certainly do, but it's a matter of trying to get it in there in a really quick manner, which gives opportunities 1v1 rather than just bombing it in long and hoping for the best.
Geez, I'd be frustrated as a forward, though. If I'm 1v1, give me a chance forward of the footy.
Yeah, there's no doubt Charlie would be saying that and Harry would be saying that too, but then it comes back to work rate and your smaller players who your defenders are going to drop off. You need to try and re-engage those players.
But they're not getting there to outnumber, because there's so much indecisiveness at the back end where it's going sideways. I'm not going to go to the contest where I think it should. I'm going to stick around here in the middle, and then they do go long. We've got no numbers there. So
it's a cohesive sort of unit that we've it's hard to see at the moment, isn't it?
Harry Mackay with the 4 kicks and 3 marks and the 1 goal from early in the match.
Do you think we could see the second game this year where the sub doesn't get made at all? Jack Ginnivan, he's been crooked during the week. Maybe hasn't been tapped in so far. We're 3/4 of the way through. Maybe just
wouldn't surprise me.
Just leave him in, put him in front of the heater with a rug on, and that'll be it.
Final quarter underway. Collingwood by 32 points. Pitnet and Darcy Cameron spills down the way towards Degoe and Doherty. Doherty in the centre square, socks it towards half forward. Durden, good clean pick up. Hand pass to Walsh, looking for Cottrell. Taps it to his own advantage inside 50. Jams it onto the right boot. This would be some start. He misses to the right hand side. Under pressure all the way as soon as he gathered the footy. Collingwood by 31 points.
It's the 15th time Carlton have trailed at 3/4 time under Michael Voss. They've won just 1 of those, so 1 and 13. And they're trying to run down the best finishing team in footy. Nick Dacos runs and carries, kicks long up to the wing. Young knocks it away for the Blues, but straight down to Degoe. The season he's having. Hand pass away to Noble, who runs with it, kicks up into the front half. Myercheck up strong. McGovern knocks it away from him on the way down. Comes to Young of the Blues. Hand pass to Sard. There's the Wolf cries. He kicks all the way down the wing for Carlton. Free kick for Mackay. Free kick over the shoulder. He won't even get it. His captain takes the advantage. Cripps inside 50. Silvani reels it in.
Oh, it's a great kick in the end, taking the free kick. Paddy Cripps off the Harry Mackay free kick. It was the only place that Jack could have marked the ball. There was another defender from Collingwood running back to support, but just great ball use going forward, putting it into the space.
It went quick though, didn't it?
Yeah.
That's the key. You've got to utilise your opportunities forward 1v1.
Because it doesn't allow the defenders to work together and put their forward in a position where they can't get the footy.
5 in from the boundary line. He'll kick it from just inside 50 at left half forward. Silvani starts it out left, leaves it there. In the end, it's lucky to sneak through for a behind. Collingwood by 5 goals. 5-12 to 11-6. 30-point lead for the Magpies 2 minutes into the last.
So 1-6 since half-time for the Blues. It's Darcy Moore straight down the middle to his fellow defender, Nathan Murphy.
17 scoring shots each.
Murphy looks laterally. Sends it out to the left back pocket where Josh Dacos takes the mark. Leading up at him, Jamie Elliott. Left half back for the Magpies. All the numbers are on the southern side of the G. Chips it over the top to Josh Dacos. It clears him. Running onto it, Quaynor. Gathers it, gives it back to Josh Dacos. Hand pass to go. He has Doherty right there with him. And tackles him over the boundary line and out of play. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Well, there was enough in that third quarter to stop Carlton fans from going home at three-quarter time. The MCC is also at capacity, so with that number, the 22,000 or so, we might even be pushing 90,000 here today.
Ooh. What do you reckon it is, Loz?
Oh, I think it might be just under. MCC might be at capacity, but you can still see a few spare seats.
Lauren Borden on the boundary. What'd you have for Dreamtime with the G last night?
78. High 78.
What was the record? 85.
Little light.
So hoping for somewhere over 85, maybe 88,000. Quick kick towards half forward for the Blues. It clears Harry Mackay. Racing onto a Charlie Curnow. Couldn't take it. Tries to knock it on to Jack Silvani. Back to Charlie Curnow. He slipped over. Darcy Moore lays the tackle. He tries to break clear. He had a long time. Umpire waves play on. Isaac Quaynor for Collingwood. Hand pass to Josh Dacos. Up the southern wing. Ash Johnson sets himself and takes the mark. Centre win on the southern side.
Looks for Bobby Hill. He just kicks it out in front of him. Boyd does well. Knocks it away from him. And Jordan Boyd is out after it. Close to the boundary line. It beats him out of play. Half forward for Collingwood.
They've had a few of those today, Carlton, running back with the flight. Their ability to get a fist in and not impede the Collingwood player going to take the mark or give away a free kick's been really good. Good courage.
He hasn't played since round 15 last year, Jordan Boyd. Came in for Chincotta. Playing off the back flank for the boundary throw in. G. Elliott through the stoppage at pace. Wins it for Collingwood. Hand pass to Josh Dacos. 60 out from goal. Kicks to the goal square. They're all down there. Sides up and knocks it through for a rush behind. Johnson and Myercheck both crouching in the pack, waiting for that ball to come in. Collingwood by 31. 4 gone, final term. Blues have got to make it happen fast.
Saad brings the Blues back into play, takes his mandatory bounce and sends it up towards Harry Mackay. This time he takes the mark. 4th mark of the game in front of Murphy. Into the middle of the crowd, missed Charlie Curnow. Pendlebury getting back. Telegraphed in the end. The former Collingwood captain read that as he does the game so well. Bouncing on his toes as he looks for options further afield, kicks laterally. Darcy Moore takes the mark.
I'm just not even sure why Charlie Curnow's leading into the corridor there. You've got it centre back.
It's got to be the midfielders leading into that space or the high half forward.
Moore kicks it as far as he can towards Myercheck. Wiedering set himself in front. It awkwardly got a free kick. Chopping of the arms. Just dragged down by the left arm by Brodie Myercheck in the end. There wasn't a lot in it. As Wiedering sends it wide on the southern side of the ground and Jack Silvani marks.
Had a look earlier in the quarter, couldn't kick it through, goes for his captain here, and he's outmarked by his opposing skipper. Moore's up, wins the one-on-one with Cripps. Moore coming at the footy, Cripps backpedaling, and Moore's got another intercept touch for Collingwood. He goes short to Mitchell.
Number 15, Corb.
15?
Out of, what's he had, 20.
Still got him on top, best of field.
Oh, geez, hard to go past him at the moment, would it? Would it be? Just incredible.
He's had quite a day. The Collingwood skipper as Tom Mitchell goes wide for Josh Dacos. There were 2 lead changes in the first 12 minutes, and from that point on, Collingwood have played from in front as Dacos down the wing, and there's Brodie Myercheck. He's got 4 so far today. Kicks inboard for Adams, wants to move it, feints to hand pass, gives it in the end of the go. He takes on the tackler to Hill, shoots it inside, back towards Adam. He's locked up, tackled, caught, holding the ball, trying to slice his way through. And it's Boyd again. It's Walsh on this occasion who wins it for Carlton. Oh, and he's completely cooked that. Walsh has kicked it straight out of bounds on the full. Free kick for Collingwood, high half forward, 60 out, and Myercheck's going to get it.
Don't expect that, do you, from any of your high-end players?
Brodie Myercheck has 4 goals for the game. He's out 55 metres out from home, hard to the left, drives it long towards Cameron. Ash Johnson's there. Cameron got hands to it. Johnson's the crummer. Hand pass to McCreary across his body for the first goal of the final term. It's all swings and roundabouts for the Magpies. Bo McCreary gave the hand pass to Myercheck in the 3rd quarter. This time it's Ash Johnson who gives it back to him for the first goal of the final term. Collingwood 12-7, 79. to the Blues. 5-12-42. 7 minutes gone. Final term on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's just a bit too easy, isn't it? When you have time to set up and get back to support, to have a long ball go in and just to drop the ball front and centre where someone's read the play. Just too easy for Matt Johnson, who just off hands, and McCreary, I don't know where his opponent was, but just going to be harder defensive there.
1-6 to 2-2 after half-time, so 7 scoring shots to 4 Carlton's way, and yet it's Collingwood who lead by 37. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
This seems like a pre-planned sub from Collingwood. Jack Ginnivan's just come on. Ash Johnson come off. Even though he took the spec, he had an assist there in the goal. The two players with illness have just swapped with each other now.
Thanks, Loz. So 8 minutes into the final term, Ginnivan gets his first look at it. Free kick, Collingwood, advantage applied out the middle to Goey, to Pendlebury by hand. Pendlebury's hand pass and turnover. Picked up by Doherty, who just whacks it forward for the Blues. Up to meet it, Charlie Curnow swings a hand pass out to Ed Curnow. His kick smothered. Nice work from Maynard on the 1%er, forces the ball out of play, and a throw in, 60 out. And the Carlton goal. Last 2 in the game now for the Magpies. They've kicked only 1 in the second half, the Blues. For all their efforts and their time in the front half, Pitternet grabs it out of the right, gives it to Chera. He kicks goalward, but he's offline, so make that 1-7 after half-time. Make it 5-13 for the day to 12-7. 36 points, Collingwood's lead, 9 gone, final term.
Darcy Moore brings the Magpies back into play, up towards Mason Cox through the hands of Louis Young. Corey Durden picks it up for the Blues, kicks towards Harry Mackay. Darcy Moore shoves him out of the way, legally, says the umpire. Takes another intercept possession, number 15 for the game. Works it to Quaynor, sends it up the members' wing. And Lewis Young marks in front of Mason Cox. If you're picking a Tassie team, Lids, and you have the choice between Darcy Moore and Charlie Curnow, there's the kick towards Harry Mackay, who takes the mark in front.
Jeez, that's a tough question.
Just wondering who you'd see as more valuable.
Well, given Darcy Moore's the captain, you can really present a case to say, well, he can go down there and captain the side initially as well. So I probably lean more towards that. But in terms of marketability, you probably go to Charlie. I'm going to lean towards Darcy, though.
He's been instrumental, the Collingwood captain. Here's Harry Mackay. His 6th kick coming up of the match, looking for his 2nd goal. He leans back on it, but steers it through. The Blues finally with their 2nd goal of the second half, despite all their dominance in front of goal. And the margin is 30 points Collingwood's way. 12-7-79 to the Blues, 6-13-49. 10 minutes gone, final term, a goal apiece.
What do you think the message from Michael Voss is at the moment, Lids? It's got to come out from the runner. Do you just, right up, boys, just free wheel here, let's just try and score at all costs, or is there still enough time where you're still back in your method?
I think you've got to back in your method, but you've also got to take those calculated risks.
Yep.
And probably earn more on the side of going for the risk versus the safety down the line play. I'm not talking about that Harry Mackay kick into the middle of the ground. I'm just saying, if there's a runner going past Saab, Doherty, flick it. Let him get that overlap and see if we can get out the back to a 1v1.
30-point lead for the Magpies. Back in the middle of the ground. Comes down to Taylor Adams, and the centre clearance for Collingwood. Kicks to half forward. Wiedering got hands to it. Spills to Mychek. He's tackled, lost it. Kennedy coughs it up. Comes down to Ginnivan, fresh on the ground. He's tackled. Collingwood fans wanted a high tackle. They're not getting it. And a ball up.
Jeez, Steve.
I don't think he's ever getting one of them ever again.
Never again.
Cox wins the hit out. Charging through. Kennedy collects, hooks it across his body out of the defensive arc. Owies, ball runs by him, picked up by Quaynor between wing and half forward. He looks back inside 50, kicks it to Mason Cox. Takes the mark, left half forward, 35 out.
Well, if I hadn't watched last week, I would say this might be troubling for distance-wise, but as we know last week, Ledsy went back from about 55 and put one through, but this one's downhill and with the wind, isn't it, from the side of the ground?
If he can't make the distance from 30, please.
He's kicking it for 40, 45, isn't he?
Maybe. It's not downhill, but the ball does travel from this end, as we found out last week.
Tight angle. 2 metres in from the boundary line. His set shot won't quite get there. They all compete on the line. There's a mark paid. It's going to McGovern.
Come on, Mace.
Even with the short of 50 and everything else, couldn't quite put it through.
McGovern up towards Harry Mackay. Markov in from the side for Collingwood. Spills the way of Hewitt. Hand pass in the direction of Hoskett Elliott for Collingwood. Trying to knock it clear, and the umpire will ball it up. It's Taylor Adams, in fact, who was on the very bottom of the pack for the Magpies. Collingwood by 30 points. Thrown up. Cox tries to take it out of the ruck. Somehow got it to Adams, who's locked up at right half forward for the Pies.
The other game, by the way, Clinchy. So yeah. Jack Higgins just put St Kilda in front, so they lead the Giants by 2 halfway through the second quarter.
Take it to Giants Stadium at the completion of this game. Taylor Adams from the clearance, trying to get it to Jack Ginnivan. Bursts away, almost run down by Motlop. Feeds it to DeGoey, shanks it towards full forward, and Louis Young down low takes the mark for the Blues. 15 metres out from the city end. Collingwood by 30 points. 13 minutes gone, final turn.
It'll be a popular time slot, I'm sure, Lids in Western Sydney, the 4:40 on the Sunday.
Yeah, the best.
As Young runs and carries, kicks out to half-back, wanted to get it to Akers, spills through to Jack Crisp. Hand pass to Pendlebury for the Magpies, hands it to Moore, back to Crisp, sends Collingwood inside 50, backpedaling McGovern, knocks it out of bounds.
We've actually got a past players event on up there this weekend.
Oh,
a few boys are up there, went up there last night, I think, and they had...
You didn't make it?
No, I'm here,
no.
So obviously.
Yeah, otherwise, you're not going afterwards?
Oh, yeah, I'll just sneak up.
30 metres out from the Pies goal, boundary throw in. Akers, hand pass to Chera. Gives it away by hand to Kennedy. Kicks out wide, and Newman take the mark. Half back for the Blues. Lays it off to Paddy Cripps.
He looks up the southern side of the MCG towards Harry Mackay, wrestling with Darcy Moore. Maynard slipped in front, dropped the mark, trying to knock it forward. Owie straight to Darcy Moore. He's tackled by Hewitt. He's careful not to drag it back in. The umpire will ball it up. They charter flights from Melbourne up to Sydney for ex-Giants players.
Oh, they helped out a fair bit, to be honest, I think, with the for the boys to get up there, but I had other priorities, unfortunately.
You committed to us. We appreciate that. Akers for the Blues. Pass to Cripps, the Carlton captain, inside 50. Markov spoiled when he could have marked. Hand pass to DeGoey. He's under immediate pressure. Tackled by Motlop, and now Quaynor is tackled by Charlie Curnow. 50 metres out from the Blues goal.
Up it goes. Centre half forward for the Blues. Cox wins it down from the back, but down to Hewitt. Hand pass away to Akers. His hand pass a turnover. There's Nick Dacos for Collingwood. The 1-2 with DeGoey. Dacos in a bit of space off the back flank. Kicks down the wing. Wanted to get it to Crisp. Bobby Hill with a little deft touch, but ends up in the path of Sard. Sockers it away to Chera. Carlton back with it. Hand pass to Ed Curnow. 70 out. Kicks inside the forward arc. It's Darcy Moore again. He's in front. Takes another intercept mark. Darts away the Collingwood captain. Kicks it to Markov in the back pocket.
17 intercept possessions for Darcy Moore. As Markov up to McCreary at full stretch as McGovern most awkwardly tunneled him underneath. McCreary at right half back for the Magpies, who lead by 30 points. 15 minutes gone, final turn. McCreary kicks as far as he can up towards Mason Cox and Myercheck. Myercheck flies, brought it down to ground level to DeGoey. Hand pass looking for Hoskett Elliott, cut off by Kennedy to Cherry. Quick hand pass concession to Owies, and now to Doherty. Takes a bounce through the middle of the MCG, goes long from 55, it's out to the right, and racing back. Nathan Murphy marks on his chest. If it's not Darcy Moore, it's Nathan Murphy, who with a clearing kick puts it up to Hoskett Elliott at full stride. He marks just inside the boundary at left half back.
To put the 17 intercept possessions into some kind of context, the next best for Collingwood is 7. The next best in the game is 9. He's had 17. Phenomenal night.
Incredible.
For Darcy Moore, the premier key defender in the game, as the long kick heads down the wing for Collingwood. There's a free here for a push in the marking contest. It's going Collingwood's way. It's going to come all the way back to Mason Cox.
Similar game style there. Alex Rance at his best. We played the Giants up there in Canberra. They smacked us by 120 points. And Leon Cameron just said, how do we get Alex Rance on our team? He's that good.
Hand pass away towards Noble. He goes long to half forward, and Young with an intercept mark there for Carlton. Hand pass away to Sard. He kicks down the wing. Cripps trying to control the half volley. He's got Nick Dacos sweating on him. Cripps now tackled, throws his arms out. The umpire says, I'll have it. And the ball up on the wing. 30-point lead for Collingwood. 17 gone, final turn. Meanwhile, in Sydney, 7 minutes to go in the second quarter, a 2-point lead for the Saints. But from the restart, Doherty hands it out to Walsh. He's tackled by Mitchell. Hand pass kept it alive. Blues come up with that. Ed Curnow to Hewitt to Cripps. Hand pass inboard to Walsh, who gets on his bike again. Kicks down the wing. Akers hands it back to Walsh. His third touch in the chain. Hand pass over to Hewitt. High half forward. Kicks inside the forward 50. Charlie Curnow in the wrestle with Murphy. He wins it here. And Curnow takes the mark. 5 in from the boundary line. Right half forward.
Well, good ball use there on the Shane Warne side of the ground by Carlton, just playing that piggy in the middle type of play where they just use the extra number and work the ball out really smartly. And then we've seen what happens when you get a 1v1 with Charlie Curnow. Whoever his opponent is, he's just too strong and draws free kicks or takes the mark on this occasion.
18 minutes into the final term. Charlie Curnow, right foot drop punt, misses near side. He behind. Collingwood by 29 points. They opened up a 31-point lead early in the second quarter, Collingwood, and from that point on, the closest Carlton have got is 25 points. It's 29 at the moment, 18 gone, final term.
Just thinking back to Alex Rance and Darcy Moore, Lids, that they just watch the football, don't they? They almost play like forwards and just back themselves in rather than you see other defenders who constantly watch their opponent, just always eyes on the football and knowing where the space an opponent is.
2 goals 8, the Blues in the second half. The Collingwood's 2-2. At half-back, Tom Mitchell over the top of the footy. Jack Silvani over the top of him. The umpire will ball it up. There's an injury at Giants Stadium. I think it's Mitch Owens who's being stretchered off. So the mobile stretcher has come onto the ground and there's going to be a significant delay there at Giants Stadium. I'll take you there for the second half. It's the Saints leading by 2 points, 7-3-45 to the Giants, 7-1-43. The Blues through Sam Walsh at half forward. Hand pass to Matt Kennedy in from the side. Nick Dacos takes it back for Collingwood. Sends it up the members' wing. Mason Cox. Couple of metres on Louis Young. And takes the mark as he just struts past the Carlton bench. The big Texan coming through.
It's like he's got a parachute on his back pulling his shoulders. He just struts. Love it.
Game 100 coming up next week against North Melbourne. Steel side bottom. Also touches past a milestone. Game 300 for him. We'll be there. Docklands next Sunday. As Josh Dacos up towards half forward and Hoskin Elliott rises to take the mark. Dacos at right, Hoskin Elliott at right half forward can give it back to Josh Dacos. He ran the boundary line. Marks 60 metres out from home. At the city end of the MCG comes inboard to Scott Pendlebury. Carlton have everyone inside their defensive half apart from Jack Silvani. Pendlebury swings onto his left, kicks out in front of Mason Cox, who struts out and takes the mark, uncontested in the end.
Yeah, that's a concern, Clinchy, that it was uncontested.
Yeah, you called it right too, Clinchy. You had 17 Carlton players in the D50. And still Mason Cox is able to run out and take an uncontested mark. As good as the kick was from Scott Pendlebury, just there's no body checking on Mason Cox whatsoever, and just a really poor passage of play.
Bit hard to miss the biggest man on the ground. Directly in front, it's Mason's moment as he comes in and drives it home. The Pies extend their lead to 35 points with 2 goals to 1 in this final term. 13-7-85 to the Blues, 6-14-50. 21 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it was just a nice set-up kick from Pendlebury, wasn't it? It's the ability just to have that separation. Big Mason Cox, I mean, he's 10 feet tall once he extends his arms up. Pretty quick off the mark too for a big bloke, but so good to see him strutting his stuff down there in that forward line.
I didn't see anything in the celebration. Was there anything
just
on offer?
Double cobra from the big fella.
Double cobra. Yes, it was. How did I miss that? Oh, jeez.
Back to 35 points. Collingwood cruising to win number 9. Free kick here in the middle of the ground. It's going Collingwood's way. A late whistle and a high tackle on Tom Mitchell. Mitchell just kicks it in the direction of Cox again. A little too much on it, and Young takes the intercept mark for Carlton. 5-day break for the Baggots too, so Friday night footy against the Swans. Swans back in the winners list at 4 and 6. Carlton will be 4.5 wins. As Young goes long to the wing, spills down to Maynard. Hand pass back into congestion, spills the way of Mackay for the Blues. Hand pass away to Chera, dishes it off to Walsh, kicks to centre half forward. He's Curnow. He's tried his heart out, kicks inside the forward 50, and there's Matt Owies who takes the mark, centre half forward, 40 out.
We'll get on with this pretty quickly, Owies.
He's not mucking around. Skips in, close to the bound on the mark. The drop punt from Owies is good. He's got a couple. And a late one for the Blues. Time on final turn. They played from behind most of the day. Collingwood by 29 points. 13-7-85. Carlton 7-14-56. Competitive in the second half, but inaccurate. Haven't been able to close the gap on the scoreboard.
Yeah, no, spot on, Corby. They've certainly been competitive in this second half, but just in that third quarter, just their skill execution and their ability to finish off their hard work, they just didn't get any reward for any of their effort, and then Collingwood have been pretty good in this last quarter and really shut out the game well. Carlton moved the ball better at times in this last quarter. Then they moved the ball pretty well, but the sting's certainly gone out of it.
So the second half scoreboard is 3 goals 8 to 3 goals 2. So 6 more scoring shots, all of them behinds. 11 scores to 5 in the second half, Carlton's way.
Back in the middle, Pitnet and Darcy Cameron. Spills down the way of Doherty, runs straight into Tom Mitchell, who lays the tackle. Ball stuck underneath Cameron and a few others. And Chera and Hewitt sliding in.
There might be a fight post-game too, boys. Tony Shaw's rubbing it into Murph next door in the next box. So get your heads on.
We got your back, Murph. As Doherty kicks towards half forward, up towards Maynard of Collingwood, sport away from Silvani. Quick hand pass out towards Durden. Laid the tackle on Murphy. Ball spills clear. Nick Dacos for Collingwood. Hand pass intercepted by Motlop. Gave it to Chera, to Doherty. Little chip kick. Too wide for Walsh. And racing back, Bobby Hill. And marks in front of Charlie Curnow. Collingwood by 29 points.
I've seen this a number of times. Bobby Hill getting really high up the ground and supporting his defence. He's working really hard to just help out his teammate, and something obviously that he's really bought into from joining the Giants.
A slight favourite, you reckon, Murph?
Of mine?
Yeah,
I like him.
No, I mean in the head-to-head battle with Tony Shaw.
Going by height.
Kick heads down the wing. Chera looks in the middle of the ground. Doherty shakes the tackle. Hand pass away to Kennedy for the Blues. Oh, big hit in the middle of the ground. Tackle without the footy. Free kick, Carlton. Had Curnow bowled over by Jamie Elliott. And Curnow just swings it all the way out to Boyd. Boyd looks inside the forward arc, and here's Harry Mackay hitting up, marking right half forward. 45 from home. It's a bit of a Aussie rules bash this week. Tom Bell-Chambers in the ring on Wednesday night on the undercard of a fight night at Margaret Court Arena against Cam Mooney.
Cam Moons.
Might be busy on Wednesday night, I think.
As our resident boxing expert, will you be attending that one?
Possibly.
We need a rundown.
Possibly. Cam Mooney's a favourite, I hear. Here's Harry Mackay to try and drive one in late. He misses across the goal face behind. 28 points, Collingwood's lead. 26 gone final turn. Crowd posted Clinchy. 80,354. So in a 24-hour period here at the MCG, we've had almost 160,000 people through the gates. 28 points, Collingwood's lead late in the last.
Josh Dacos brings the Magpies back into play, but his kick is turned over. And Pitnet takes the mark at left half back. Centering ball looking for Charlie Curnow. Darcy Moore spoils it away. Spills it to Goey inside the defensive 50. Breaks Hewitt once, not twice. Has to get the hand pass away as he's dragged down. Got it to Noble. Searching kick to left half back. Crisp takes the mark. They just always find a way out of trouble, Collingwood, as he chips it over the top to Hoskin Elliott. And he just gestures for a little bit of control as he looks for options across half back. Magpies by 28 points. As he chips it around the boundary line, back to Jack Crisp.
One thing they're very good at, Collingwood, is in the tackle. They do stand up in it really well and then dish out to a teammate. They never really get caught holding the ball, or they're just so strong in the tackle.
Is that training or technique? Or
training, technique, and just the mindset to always fight through.
Sandpit in the pre-season as Markov inside 50. Big fly from Myercheck, but Pitnet was set in front. He takes the intercepting mark for the Blues. Right back pocket, 26 minutes gone. Collingwood by 28 points.
Wash up to come here, and then second half from Sydney between the Giants and the Saints. Scores level there On the stroke of half-time, Collingwood by 28. The Blues out of the defensive arc. Oh, Durden just missed one. Now pressure from Noble. Sockers to keep it alive to Walsh, trying to pick up the greasy footy. Noble's back to get him. Oh, and Durden looks a little sore here as he's on the AstroTurf and hasn't got back up next to the interchange, Stuart. We're actually shielded. We can't see that from the roof of the dugout. I'm not sure if Loz is still down there or she's disappeared to the rooms, but hopefully Durden, he's hurt. He's up and hobbled, trying to make his way off the ground. So that's a really sour end of the night. Durden going over on his ankle right at the end there on the AstroTurf, hobbling to the bench. Quick kick forward from the Blues, went out of bounds on the full by Sam Walsh. Noble will get it for the last kick of the game. Drives it down the wing. And Collingwood continue to run the table. 6 on the trot. They remain a game clear on top. The Pies by 28.
Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. All the premierships are capable for the good old Collingwood.
That's about as a professional win as you're likely to see from a footy team in this league. They opened up a 44-point buffer midway through the second quarter and they cruised home from that point. Carlton had a bunch of scoring shots in the second half. They could never get themselves close enough to be a significant sniff in the game. Collingwood closed out in the final term. They led by 24 at quarter time, 34 at the half, 32 at three-quarter time and 28 points in the finish. The Pies by 28 in front of 80,000. Wasn't the same drama like the last time these two teams met. It was just a professional win for Collingwood. They close out having kicked 9 of the first 11 goals. Win by 28 points, remain a game clear on top. And as the song says, they certainly know how to play the game. A 28-point win for Collingwood. They're 9-1 on the season.
Thoughts of Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it's a pretty comprehensive win, I suppose, in the end from Collingwood. I thought they were solid right throughout the game. Credit to Carlton, they came back in that second half and applied a lot more pressure. They just weren't able to finish their work, Murph, which will be, they'll rue that. They kicked 1-4 in that third quarter. You make that 4-1, it makes it an exciting game, going into the last. But look, it's another win on the board for Collingwood. We all know what we're going to get when we turn up. They're going to take the game on, how they're going to play. It's not going to be just one star player right at the top who's going to dominate and lift this side over the line. It's going to be a very even performance, a great spread that gets this team up and rolling, which is how do you stop that? Like, if you're coming in and planning against this Carlton, or for Carlton to come up against this Collingwood side, how do you stop a side that's just so well balanced and evenly spread?
Yeah, and I think if you look at it from Carlton's point, they end up with 2 more scoring shots, but they were just outclassed probably for most of the day. Like, they just, once Collingwood got 6 goals up, it was a goal back to Carlton and Collingwood would answer. So they could just never really bridge that gap and get within 4 goals. Once they did get that margin of 5 or 6 goals up. And it's been the same thing which has plagued them so far this year, Carlton. It's been their skill execution, and if it's a one-off game where that happens and you're like, oh, well, you know what, don't worry about it, boys, let's just get back to training and it'll turn for us. But we constantly see them against the really good sides, and that is because there's obviously a heightened pressure, and that forces the skill errors, and sometimes it doesn't necessarily read that way when you look at the disposal efficiency and you go, they actually kick the ball all right, but that's because they get the positive slant by kicking the ball sideways or using the uncontested mark method. But when it comes time to actually penetrate and get the ball forward of centre and then inside 50, that's when their decisions are questioned, and then that's where their executions aren't quite up to scratch. And they saw a side today, Carlton, in Collingwood, who just get their skills right majority of the time, and when they don't get it right, they're quick to clean it up because they're predictable to one another.
Well, they get less of the footy, but they're more damaging, Collingwood, aren't they? And that's what was always the argument when, the Tigers of old, when I was playing there, and teams gone by, is that everyone tried to play like Geelong used to, get 400 disposals and just dominate and not have to run too much because you've got a hold of the footy all the time. Whereas there's been other times in Richmond, we watched them in their era, it was less possessions but territory. Hold it in your forward half. And I think Collingwood have got that great balance at the moment. They're only down 20 possessions today on Carlton, but their ability to stay in their forward half but take ground when they've got those opportunities, they go at the opposition and they don't allow you to get set up behind the ball.
And they always look forward whenever they get the ball too. So they have that bailout option to go back if they need to. But the one thing that really stands out to me when I watch Collingwood play is that whenever they receive the ball, they're always looking to go towards goal or corridor. Whereas when I look at Carlton, when they're not playing at their best, and they got it right sometimes today, but they sort of err on the side of going back or wide, which then invites more pressure down the field and doesn't allow you to score quicker and allows the other opposition team to set up defensively much easier.
You're full of praise, Lids, for Darcy Moore throughout the match.
Yeah.
Finished with 25 disposals, 11 contested marks, 17 intercept possessions. It's not a record until Sir Swamp Thing puts it on Twitter. He says 11 intercept marks for Darcy Moore is the new AFL record.
Yeah. Well, he was incredible today. There was no doubting that he was it's like playing tennis against a brick wall. He just kept rebounding it back. Couldn't get past him. But I love that it's not just wrestling and taking it off the opposition inferior opponent. He's playing against Charlie Curnow and out-manoeuvring him, being able to read the flight better, read it quicker, and go at the footy. And that's what you made mention of, and something that Alex Rancid, an old teammate of mine, he'd go at the ball and try and intercept and play in front and take something away from the opposition.
He's Collingwood's most valuable player now, isn't he?
How do you argue against that? You couldn't possibly.
Not just his ability to play the game, but the way he sets it up across half-back and the leadership he's now developing into.
If he's not there, there's a big gaping hole as who's going to fill that spot. And there's no doubt that he's the man down there. He's obviously the skipper. He leads by example, but also he instructs his other teammates around him to position themselves accordingly, and he's always there to support, and that's why he's such a great player.
Carlton today, by the way, Clinchy, so we talked about how inaccurate they were in the second half. They had 12 shots to 5, 3-9 to 3-2 after half-time. Only 3 goal kickers again. So they got 3 from Curnow, 2 from Mackay, 2 from Owies. That made up their 7. They're actually ranked second last in the league for goals from midfielders. So they've only kicked 7 goals from their midfield all season, and even their behinds today. So Chera 2 behinds, Ed Curnow 1, Silvani 1, Cottrell 1, but then 5 rushed. So it wasn't as if they were sort of midfielders are peppering away, or they had a real spread of scoring options that was so limited again as to who's actually hitting the scoreboard.
I made mention of it at the start of the game about that midfielders getting in a more aggressive position, and you very rarely see them get in that position where they're having shots at goal or penetrating.
I don't think they've got the speed to.
No, well, they're also pushing a long way up the ground. So it's 51 inside 50s apiece for the match.
Yep.
Collingwood take 13 marks inside 50 to Carlton's 9.
Yeah, so I don't think they're pushing hard enough forward to be able to provide an option at times. Very rarely do you see. A highlight of Paddy Cripps' game last year was his ability to drift forward and take marks inside 50. And you hardly really ever see him almost go down there at the moment. So whether or not he's instructed not to get deeper inside 50 and become an option as a marking option, I'm not sure what it is, but their midfielders need to certainly start to kick those goals.
He's kicked 1 goal 8, Paddy Cripps, for the season. He had, what did he kick last year? 20 goals. 28 goals last year.
28 goals?
No, he didn't kick 28, surely, did he?
No.
Let me check the book. I think it must have been 20. Can't remember notes by this stage of the game.
Paddy Cripps, he kicked 20 goals.
20 goals.
Yeah. That's going nearly a goal a game, which is good going for a midfielder. Yeah. I think the best mids do that. You know, they get their 20, 25 plus a goal a game, and that's where you get your real damage. But unfortunately for the Carlton mids, they're just not getting any scoreboard pressure from them. It's too much is left and too few.
He's averaging 28 disposals this year. That's what my notes said. Inside the Collingwood rooms with Lauren Borden.
They're all in their circle already. Darcy Moore led them in, and they're all ready to go and sing their song. Brendan Moore was revving up the fans on the field before he left them, came down and just did the same really in the room to the family and friends here before. A pretty tame rendition of the song.
Thanks, Liz. We'll head back down to you as soon as you're able to get a player for an interview, and we'll cross the Giant Stadium in around 10 minutes' time. Bobby Hill and Ash Johnson enjoying it, and the youngsters as a part of the Collingwood circle as they belt out their song for the 9th time this season. Their 9 wins and 1 loss, and on top of the AFL ladder, having won their last 6 matches on the trot. I've got North Melbourne, West Coast and Melbourne. So a couple of games you'd expect them to win, although North Melbourne took it right up to them last year, and I think they ended up answering in the final term. So King's birthday, Melbourne.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that they could be 11-1. As Corby sort of asked Justin Limpage at the start of the show, can you be playing too good a footy in May in the early stages of the season?
Yeah, I'm not sure that they are. Like, they're playing good footy, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they're not completely dominating sides from start to finish. I thought last week was probably a good example of them actually doing that, but today they shot out of the blocks, but then Carlton were able to up the pressure and take it up to them a little bit, come back into the game, kick straight. You're talking a different story probably, but it's, I suppose it's more around be winning than losing, put it that way, Clinchy.
Yeah, but it's more around the complacency that might come in, although they don't look a side that's going to drop in that pressure and intent.
It's not like the Harlem Globetrotters are strutting around out there, other than Mason Cox probably. But like, you just don't get that feeling that they're flirting with any type of form whatsoever at the moment. They're playing a solid, real hard contested style of brand, and then ball movement style. They just know they're predictable to one another, and it looks great.
If they can get to 11-1, talk about being on the right side of history, so wins over North Melbourne and West Coast in their next 2. Since 2000, Clinchy, no side has missed the preliminary final from that point. So 9 made the grand final, 6 premiers and 2 lost at the prelim stage.
So they're putting a good footing for the 2023 season. Down to Lauren Borton in the Collingwood rooms.
Thanks, Clinchy. I'm down here with Will Hoskin-Elliott. A really clinical performance today. A nice win, the ninth win of the season. What did you make of it all?
Just always good to beat the Blues. That's the big one. The boys performed really well again tonight, and we've started season well.
Obviously, it was that remarkable win at the end of last season. How much was it a goal to come in here and, like you mentioned, just get one over the rival?
Like we said, always good to beat the Blues, but it's more about just playing our way for longer.
And Ash Johnson, he took that absolute specky. Where were you on the ground and what did you make of it?
I was on the bench and it still looked huge, so it's going to be a good one.
Is he the type of person that'll be reminding you about it and telling you how high it was?
He literally just said, I felt like it was just a small one on the shoulders, but I can't wait to watch it.
I'm sure he'll be happy to show you and you can both rewatch it. You just in the rooms now and going to sing the song. You were there with your little boy. You were able to bring him into the circle. How important is that for you and how much does it mean?
Yeah, the family aspect of the Pies in the last couple of years has been huge. We can take him to training. We can bring him to games in the rooms and the meetings. It's his 5th birthday today too, so he's pretty pumped.
He'll be pretty happy with that then. We'll head upstairs now for some more questions from Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
Brett Delidio, well done on the win today. Your captain, mate, I want to hear a few words from you about him. He was fantastic. Mate, you must be pleased with his form at your own in particular.
He gets highlighted every single week. He's just unstoppable. He intercept marks, intercept spoils. He's just going to another level.
You boys started the game really well. Did you notice a lift in intensity from the Carlton boys after half-time?
Yeah, they in the third quarter our pressure went down and theirs went up, but we got it back on our terms, so always good.
Will, it's Corbin Middlemass here. Craig McRae spoke about the fact that they was going to show highlights or some vision of the match that you played against them in round 23 last year. Can you take us inside that session? What was that like when he showed you some vision of the last time he met?
It was supposed to be of the last year, but it ended up being the last 10 years or so a vision of Collingwood v Carlton. So it ended up being a good 15-minute video.
And what was the theme behind it?
It's just the rivalry, pretty much. Some of the hard hits and the pressure that's been taken, and some of the things that no longer you can do on the footy field. It was just to see the rivalry side of the game.
Did you grow up with a bit of insight into the Carlton-Collingwood rivalry? Who'd you barrack for as a kid?
I was a massive Pies fan, so it's even better when we were playing against them now and winning.
Absolutely.
Will Murphy, I'd like to ask you about a former coach of mine, Brendan Bolton. Was he fired up during the week? Did he get him angry about anything? Obviously had history at Carlton a few years ago. What was he like in the build-up this week?
This year he's actually quite calm. Last year was a different story, but this year he's calm and he kept his lid on it, so he's good.
So Give us a bit of an insight, Will, as to how different this year feels compared to last year. We sort of all cast our mind back to round 23. The last time you faced off against the Blues, it was a thrilling game. Collingwood advanced on into the finals. Carlton missed out. It feels like that gap has widened more this year. How do you feel like the Collingwood side is different in 2023?
I just feel like we can string 4 quarters together this season, whereas last year we'd play 3 and then, maybe that fourth or a bit in the third quarter we'd have patches, but we're coming out after half-time now and we're continuing our good form, which is really holding us in good stead.
Do you feel like you could run down Bobby Hill when he's streaming around the members' wing?
Absolutely not.
Is he the quickest at the club?
Darcy Moore actually is by GPS numbers.
Incredible. Tell us a bit more about Darcy, because he's obviously had a breakout game today. He's broken the record for intercept marks, which is 11, 17 intercept disposals for the match. But just in terms of his captaincy and how different this Collingwood side is under him.
It hasn't changed too much. He's got a lot of guidance. Like Pendles is still here, and he's getting a lot from the coaches and Sidey and Howie. But I just think it's the leadership he's showing is more like get the boys around each other a lot more. We have a lot more social events with each other, and dinners at each other's houses and stuff. So I think that side of the leadership has changed, and he's flourishing in the role.
Whose house is the go-to for the get-together? Is there someone?
No, anyone and everyone.
Okay, good work. Always great to catch up. Best of luck for the season. You're building nicely, Will. Thanks for your time on ABC Sport.
No, thanks for having me.
Will Hoskin-Elliott joining us from the Collingwood rooms. Everything's pretty happy down there in the Collingwood rooms at the moment as they move to 9-1 on top of the AFL ladder and setting up a couple of weeks against the Roos and the West Coast Eagles before the Demons on King's birthday.
Good sunshine lad. Grew up supporting the Pies.
Yep.
And now gets a chance to roll out on the MCG for the black and white stripes, and look how well they're going.
Yeah, can't be told off if you don't tell them too much, do you? With Will, he's a very man of short, small,
short sentences.
I'm actually rattled by Will's short answers.
So I was thinking of my next question. He finished before I even started, I reckon.
We all turned to you, Murph, because it was your turn to ask a question. Where were you? You were hiding under the desk.
I followed the pattern where I was told open-ended questions, so get him to explain sort of what this, but still couldn't.
There's only one shorter than that. That's Dusty. He gives less than Will, but I know that. Whereas Will, I thought that we'd probably get a little bit more out of him.
Yeah.
So no votes for Will Hoskin in terms of
minus votes.
Took us back to the early media days of Brett Delidio. No expansion on any of his answers.
Keep it short. Can't get in trouble.
The day was set up, Murph, around the Blues and what the expectations would be as to whether they could provide some sort of circuit breaker. It was a 5-week tough period where they were going to sort of define their season as to whether they'd be able to show enough progression and improvement that they were on the path to finals. What did you take away from Carlton's 28-point loss today, whereas in the second half they had their chances but inaccurate in front of goal?
Yeah, we probably didn't learn much more, to be honest with you. We knew coming in that their skills haven't been up to scratch against the really good sides, and when they have played against good sides, they've been found out because they get scored on turnover and they find it hard to score themselves. And they did do a lot of things really well today. Like they were hard to score against Carlton. They defended pretty well. I thought as a whole they very rarely got opened up. But when you're kicking 7 goals, 15, you're not going to win too many games of football. But yeah, it's just more of the same. Unfortunately, forward to centre, just the inability to be really connected in offense. You very rarely saw lead out marks in any form of space. Really, it was always long and throw the ball on the boot a lot, which concerns you a little bit when there's times where you're under pressure and you need to just get it forward and get yardage, but there's times where they still didn't stand up to what AFL standard is, and you're playing against the really good sides. You need to be really good with your skills, so it's going to be a hard one for them to work their way out of this rut at the moment, so they don't have much time to think about it either when they're playing against Sydney on Friday night.
So the loss of the Brisbane Lions by 26 points, to the Bulldogs by 20, to Collingwood by 28 points, and all of a sudden that Sydney game does open up a little bit of a possibility. The Swans got back on the winners list last week against North Melbourne, and the Demons in round 12. So at 4 wins, 5 losses and a draw, the season is starting to slip away from the Blues in a year in which many thought they'd be taking the leap inside finals calculation. The votes for the ABC Footballer of the Year. Have you ended up with it?
I've got it.
Lids,
yeah.
come on.
Can you do the 3 first so we can build some suspense for the 2 and the 1? Because I don't think that 3's,
Oh, yeah, we can.
3's that exciting, is it?
No, it's not. Yeah, Darcy Moore, easily the best player on the ground for mine. 25 touches, 17 of those intercepts, kicked it at 88%. He's a start. 2, I went with Geordie De Goey. I thought he was fantastic today. His ability to break tackles and get out the front of stoppage and have his teammates come along for the ride with him was really, really good. 7 score involvements to go with 13 contested and he's 27 of his own. And 1, I went to Sam Doherty from Carlton. I thought he was pretty good for the Blues. 34 touches at 72% of kicking efficiency. 25 of those 34 were kicks. 10 contested balls and 5 clearances. So 7 score involvements. I thought he was pretty good. And the 0 went to Will Hoskin-Elliott for his lack of depth in his answers. So, thanks.
Just packing the truck over that. 3 to Moore, 2 to De Goey, 1 to Sam Doherty from Brett Delidio in the ABC Footballer of the Year. 3 goals to Charlie Curnow, has him 2 goals in front of Jezza Cameron in the Coleman. Brody Mychek with another 4 goals all of a sudden moves up to 6th. So it's
very handy player, Brody Mychek.
Yeah, it's not a star-studded Collingwood forward line, but you think he's 6th year on the list, picked up from the VFL and the rookie.
As a backman.
He's a 4-time leading goal kicker for Collingwood and just plays his role. So, as opposed to the star-studded forward line.
He's just dependable, isn't he?
Yeah.
He very rarely gets beaten in 1v1s. He brings the ball to ground and then he's very strong in the air, so and he's clever at ground level. So total package a little bit at the moment when you talk like that. But yeah, he's a real good focal point for them going forward because you just know he's always going to half the contest.
We've got the big one next Sunday. Of course, the Pies, again, top of the table team, and the team you grew up supporting, Murph, for a brief period of time in North Melbourne. So, what a big one.
Yeah, very big one next week.
We're going to go. Steel Cyberham's 300th, Mason Cox's 100th. You'll be in attendance, Lids and Murph, for that.
We will. Can't
See
wait.
if the big Texan can strut once more. Collingwood winners by 28 points. We're heading to Giants Stadium. It's 51 apiece there. Unfortunately, Mitch Owens has been stretchered off for the Saints. We join Brett Sprigg, Daniel Garb, Jason Saddington, and great to have Chloe Malloy as part of our team for the rest of your Sunday night on ABC Sport.